Gathered friends, listen again to our legend of steel ball joints.
More than
Always the
most.
Oh,
Goodness gracious.
I'm your main host,
I'm having mine
Max
removed.
Dudek, and I'm joined with other hosts. Please say your names.
Please, I have a family.
Not
Say
anymore,
them.
you don't. Not when I'm done with them.
I also have a family, and I'm Levi.
I am Liam, also known as Vahkiti.
I am Rhythm of the Cat Goddess, and I am whatever you pay me to be.
I can be whatever you want me to be, baby.
Don't do this right now. Anyway, save this for after the podcast.
Let
Anyway,
it be known that he was the one that did it, not that said that, and not
and then
me.
here, hold on. I need to continue. And then here's our other hosts, our guest hosts. We got Papa Nui.
Indeed.
Everyone. I'm
Please introduce yourselves.
BobTheDoctor27. Happy to be here. Also known as Papa Nui.
Yeah.
Okay,
Your
No,
answer
it's
cute.
your
Max,
turn!
right?
Introduce yourself!
Oh, wait, yeah. No, we got one last guy.
Yeah, that's me. Hi, I'm Viro,
Hello.
and I'm a guest here for the first time.
Indeed. Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And Liam, I meant it in a bounty hunter kind of way, not in a prostitute kind of way, but I can do
Alright.
that too, I guess. Now let's move
Enough
on,
of this.
Max.
Everyone's Max's concubine this time.
No, never.
Okay, yes, Max. What do you want me to do?
Shush.
I was
That's
making
the
a joke
one
of my
thing you
drink.
can't pay Josie to do.
Okay.
The first story we're covering for today is the longest one. We're going with Old War Rocky 2 Ball Joints of Steel. It's the sequel.
You know,
Yeah.
when
I don't know
when,
if Ball Joints of Steel is the actual title, but
it
that's
is.
what it says in the
And
Google
when,
Doc.
when,
So.
when I was told that was what it was going to be called, like 5 or 6 episodes ago, I thought that was just an internal joke title. But no, they're actually calling it that.
They're gonna release it as Ball Joints of Steel. That's insane.
I think it just released the first chapter yesterday, actually.
Oh my god. Oh yes. To our lovely listeners who's here.
Spoiler warning.
Yeah, just in case the story isn't released when this episode is released, spoilers.
But by my
Sorry.
estimate, we'll be about 3 chapters into the release schedule by the time this comes out. So don't watch this for another 3 months.
Why do you say this?
Because it's true.
All right. So the story starts.
With an old sea shanty!
Yes, we got-
I was so confused reading that.
I love the sea
Romance.
shanty.
I immediately had the
Romance.
Wellerman comes in my head the whole time!
Uh-huh. So
Yeah,
we got Axon and Brutaka coming back to Doxia, singing their hearts out, and they're like, I don't understand that song. And me
Yeah,
neither.
because
Anyway.
the song's about romance and contains
Yeah,
the
and they're like,
words,
I don't get it.
words relating to romance and romance isn't canon, so they don't get it.
I'd
Well,
like to headcanon that this is just one of those weird things that came into their subconscious from the great beings or something.
Yeah.
So it was something that was a default part of their programming that was a joke by one of the great beings, and everybody knows what it is and nobody understands what it means.
Kind
Okay,
of
let's
like,
not give the Rule 34 community
okay,
any more.
so basically, this is basically like a ringtone that you have on your cell phone that you never actually intend to do anything with, but when your cell phone develops self-awareness, suddenly your cell phone has this random ass sea shanty in its subconscious, and
So
I guess this is something that exists. I don't
So
know
what
what
you're-
it is.
So what you're saying is this sea shanty is the crazy frog of Bionicle.
Yes.
See, I bought this ringtone back in 2007 for 99 cents.
Okay, now Crazy Frog does have an actual origin in real life, so I think it would be more accurate to say,
The gummy bear.
yeah, I don't know what the gummy bear's origin is. So until I actually bother to look up what the gummy bear's origin is, I'm gonna say it's that.
All
Nobody
right,
knows
moving on.
why there's a song
Yes,
about
moving on.
romance in this world devoid of romance. There just is.
Robot story.
Axon says he
like-
doesn't get it, but Brutaka is like, no, you see, it's a thing that people sing while they're on a boat.
No,
All
just
right.
a second though. Didn't like Faber release some documents about romance being canon actually, or planned at least?
Well, I mean, Faber didn't really have all that much influence on the actual story.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well,
He's
still
not
easy
canon.
to read.
He
about.
was more from what I'm aware, he was more of like an initial like planner and somebody that did like the
Concept
general
boy.
outlines of things, yeah. And then
Uki
Greg
Maku
was the one who
forever.
wrote all the details and had like sole proprietorship over what is and isn't canon.
Yeah, he was
Okay,
the
good.
head of the story team.
Yeah.
Uki and Maku forever.
Yeah,
Plus
I also don't
plus a
want
bunch
to
of the
like
stuff
open
Faber
that
has
can of
said,
worms
like-
again and have a whole romance as canon argument.
Oh, it's valid
we can move
because-
on.
I also
you know
ship
what?
Akmu and Gavla.
Okay,
all
that's
right,
that's
hold on.
very cool.
So anyway, one thing I will say. I'm only gonna say one thing. The feeling, the emotions relating to romance exist in canon because they just do. We've seen it. But socially, the concept of dating doesn't exist. Boom.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Uki and Maku invented.
But they can in the future.
Hmm.
There's nothing stopping them. Anyway.
Anyway,
So Helrix gives Brutaka and Axon a mission to go find this former member of the Hand of Hortaka named General Tybus, who's a cult man, and he's just doing bad things.
starting a
I
cult.
see we're skipping over the mention of Brutaka's little arms.
Yes.
Well, I didn't think that was important to the plot summary,
No,
but sure,
it's
you
extremely
can talk
That
about
is
important.
that.
very
because
important to the plot summary.
It's extremely important, not to this plot per se, but what I have to say about it at the end when we give our overviews of it. I actually have a lot to say about this work as a general thing.
Same.
Well, that does bring up a question, actually. Was it ever stated officially whether or not those arms are actually a part of his body?
I don't think
Apparently
it was.
they're
It's somewhere on
Mechanical
DSO1,
I don't think it was,
and
that's
I'm sure
why
BSO1 has a source on that.
I don't think it was, and that's why it's so significant. Because if this story is now part of our expanded canon, this is the only time that Brutaka's little arms have ever been mentioned anywhere.
Yeah. It's like the Matoran on the back of
in a story
Spiria.
specifically. It's been mentioned somewhere by Greg.
Probably.
Yeah, there is nothing regarding the arms on BSO1.
Well,
What are you talking
Well,
about?
there should be.
I just went on Brutaka's page and searched for arms, and there's nothing.
Brutaka
Well,
has
if
no
you
arms.
just said arms,
None.
you silly little man.
Brutaka's set has these. Brutaka's set has these little arms on his waist that have never been mentioned anywhere except by Greg one time.
But
And in
have,
this
like,
me-
Okay, here we go. It says,
Just-
additionally,
just
he
a question.
sports
Have
two
other
mechanical
characters' arms
additions
been
that hold his
specifically
proto
mentioned?
steel throwing knives. Okay.
There you go.
They're
That's
basically
it.
they are
You're just calling them the wrong thing, you silly
glorified
man.
holsters.
Yeah.
But I did know about that before I read the story, so I guess I win.
Definitively.
I had completely
I'm
forgotten
the
about
Bionicle
it,
Lord
but
nerd now.
Bionicle is so weird, and the sets all have little details that don't make sense. That when I read that, I was like, "Does the set have little arms?" I guess it does. And then eventually, I got around to looking
because-
it up, and I was like, "Yeah, it does. Yep." Sure.
In the CG renders and animations, they're never utilized. They're just clipped to his back, and you never see them.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just
there's like
never,
one CG render of him.
I just never. had
True,
an-
but he was also in the commercial.
That's
I
what
just-
I'm talking about. There's like one. There's only one of those.
Well, I mean, there's the animation in the commercial, and then there's the box renders, but neither of them have those arms in use. And when they're folded back, they just look like an extension of his back armor.
Yeah, but
anyway,
for the
so here they're mentioned
Yeah,
for the first time
but
because
they
there's a
exist.
guy at the Order of Matanui's shenanigan zone headquarters.
but have
that's
you
what
looked
it's
at the
called.
back of the box, my friend?
That inventories
Well, I mean, in
all of their
fairness, I
members'
never owned
weapons.
Brutaka, so.
I never owned him
and
either.
also there's a promo art with his arms out. I'm gonna post it.
But yes,
So you can
I
eat your
love
words.
I love this scene. I'll make you eat those words. No, I love this scene where the guy is inventorying the weapons, and he gets to Brutaka's sword and starts questioning it, and then Axon just jumps in and is like, "Yes, this beautiful sword. Look at the craftsmanship. See, if you push this button, it'll shock you to death."
I bought it for my best friend. I love that.
I like that. It was cute.
I like how everyone also keeps dissing Brutaka's hammer.
Yes.
And he's just
Hey,
like,
you
I
like
liked
the hammer.
that.
Is this hammer based on anything, or is it just?
I think
Or
it
did
was.
the author of
I
this?
think it's based on a
It was
hammer.
based on the fact that there was a period in the story where every new character had a hammer. There was Melding to Rydax, there was Artaka. A bunch of characters just appeared all of a sudden with hammers for no reason, and there weren't enough nails to go around.
We like hammer.
I take it you're the author.
Well, no, this is mainly Gonel. I helped with a lot of it, but
Okay.
I think that was
Sorry,
the.
When people sound smart, I draw lines that aren't there. Liam rarely sounds smart, but he's very smart.
Let's not be rude for today.
Great idea. Yeah.
Anyway, it's I'm gonna move on to the next detail.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, so they get sent after Tibus, and they set sail. As they are arriving, there's other mysterious mercenaries, ? Who see them and they're like, "Hey, yo, what the hell is that?" And then they, like, let's get him later. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Axon and Axon and Brutaka are going, on their mission. They've arrived at the island. It's somewhere in the south, the deep south, if you will.
I'm sure there was
All
plenty
the
of sea
Everglades
shanties.
and the swamps.
Yeah.
I wonder what the Matoran universe equivalent of the Bible Belt would be.
This literally, this is the cult land.
Let's see,
Daxia,
Hmm.
Old man waistband. Oh wait, no, belt is already a clothing item.
So Tibus is using an Akaku, and he's like, "Oh wow, there's some people." That's crazy.
I like the use of masks. And
I like that they have unique new mask powers in this story too.
No,
Although
I
question the overall use of some of them, like the mask of air purification, but we'll get to that later.
Okay. First we'll get to that. We'll get to those later. But like, just Tibus, he just has an Akaku that he's using instead of a spyglass, like you would typically see a character using to look at stuff. Because why wouldn't you just have an Akaku lying around if you can use? If you can use masks, why wouldn't you just have spare masks lying around? The Toa are the only ones in Bionicle that seem to utilize spare masks.
Well, I think it's also
They're
that,
hard
like,
to find.
yeah, masks are probably very expensive and hard to come by, and only a handful of beings can actually utilize them.
Yeah,
Or
specifically
like a lot of
masks.
mercenaries and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, look at me, I'm so great."
Put it this way, the crossover between beings that can use masks and the beings that can afford masks probably isn't very large.
To be fair, though, if I am a big evil boy, I'm probably gonna go around stomping the babbies and taking their masks.
Or if you're gatherer, you'll just wear it on your dick.
The masks that the Bobbies wear typically don't have powers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Dollar was an exception. His mask was a noble howl while he was in the war.
Yeah.
It was a noble?
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
The wiki says so.
Lycans. Right.
He got it from dead boy Lycan.
Yeah.
Yeah, his mask didn't downgrade when its owner changed.
But then shape changed into the great variant. Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that's funny, isn't
it's weird with Matoran, especially when you consider the movie style, because I don't know, like you compare like even compare the Matoran, the standard background Matoran in the movie that wore a huna to Vakama in his Matoran form.
Yes. No.
You can only assume that he was just wearing a great huna in Matoran form.
Yeah.
You mean a great Huna-shaped mask?
Things get more complicated. Things get complicated when you think about it.
Yeah.
Too much.
No.
Let's just not. Let's just assume that everything vis-a-vis Jalar makes sense and move on to the story we're actually reading. Where Tybus uses an Akaku like a telescope, which is what you should do.
Yeah.
So then we have Shaktan, who is Tybus's lieutenant.
And apparently that was the original name for Conjurer.
Yeah.
The spoilers.
Well, it's not really a spoiler. It's never really. I don't think. Is it ever actually like brought up
in
officially?
It was
because
news
I think
to me. It was news to me. So
There's
I'm
some
gonna say
write-ups. There's some trivia. There's some trivia at the end of the story. At the end of this story.
Well, yeah, there's the trivia, but I only remember.
Mentioned, I think, in part 4 at the end
like,
when they get off.
Practically everything in this story is reused content that I didn't actually know was scrapped. I thought I knew everything there was to know about Bionicle, but I didn't.
The only line I remember specifically calling it out in any way was the one line that says, "We could be conjurers," which is kind of just hinting at it.
Oh, that's close enough.
So anyway, Tybus has
at the end it does explicitly say it.
It does.
That's why I said spoilers.
Anyway, Tybus has cunt face there and tells him to do a thing. Let's go.
Anyway, Shaktan goes to Tybus and he's like, "Hey, yo, the device is ready." Or very nearly ready. They're just doing the final checks. So then Tybus is like, all right. I just needed some news from other people. And then he says, "Hey, we could be conjurers, Lamau."
Yeah.
Tybus says that. Anyway.
That
was Shaktan said, "I'm silly. I'm too silly for today." So Tybus's deal is he wants to restore Trenkrom as the Great Spirit, or at least he thinks Trenkrom is the true Great Spirit, and Matanui is not good.
I still find it very silly, but also very in character that the Great Beings decided, you know what? What do we need to temporarily power our universe while we construct its brain? I know, giant Cthulhu tentacle monster.
I wonder how they made that
job.
Yeah, Trenkrom is Trenkrom is never really visual. There's no visual depiction of Trenkrom anywhere in Bionicle, but he's described as being so much unlike anything else that it's really questionable how they made him.
He's a gooey
Doesn't
boy.
he also turn people insane when they look at him?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He's just that ugly.
Yeah, but before Matanui was actually finished, Trenkrom was in charge, and there weren't a lot of self-aware beings in the Matoran universe. And
there was once a very ugly god. He was so ugly, everyone died. The end.
And Tybus things were better back then, so he wants to restore that by doing something. Have we gotten to the part where he wants to erase?
We'll get to his actual plan.
Okay, good. There's a reason why the mask of air purification was introduced.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think it's a bit convenient, but we'll get there.
It's almost as if they were prepared. They came prepared, you silly guy.
Well, they had no idea what they were coming for.
Yes, they did.
They were only looking for General. They were only looking for General Tybus. They had no idea what he was doing. Point is, they had no idea what he was actually planning here.
They don't know what he was planning, but they came. All right, I'm gonna say it now. The mercenary boys came for the Rahi that Tybus is using. That's what they actually came here for.
Okay, that's fair, yeah, because they would know what that Rahi did.
Yeah, that's their actual mission. They don't give a damn about what Tybus does. They need to get the Rahi back.
Yeah,
I got the impression that
that's not what they're here for. It's just because Tybus is using the Rahi, that's why they're there. You know.
I got the impression that they thought the Rahi had just gone off somewhere.
We've seen a few different revisions of this story. What name for the Rahi did Gonel end up going with?
Natarki. That's what it says right now.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Billy. Billy.
You sound so disappointed. It's like, oh, that one.
Remember when we did our read-throughs and we did our planning, I was like, that sounds like nah, turkey. We can't really go with that, right? And he went with that. Nah,
Well,
turkey.
the story is called
No, wait.
Well, the story is
No,
called
turkey
Ball
is not
Joints
that.
of Steel.
That's the friend one. Remember, that's the tracker one. I'm
Oh
silly.
yeah, the other one that like the big bad one was the mind kestrel.
Oh, okay. He went with my
That's it.
suggestion. I suggested the
sorry.
Destral Kestrel.
That's a little silly. A little bit silly.
Yeah, I think he went. It
rhyme's
was
a little too
originally
good.
the Mind Bison, but we figured Bison is just the wrong word for this
Mind
one.
Bison, that was what it was when I read it.
Yeah, I think it must
Really?
have changed
Yes.
as I think we only decided like 2 weeks ago like what to call this thing.
Yeah, I must have read it like just after that change was made.
Yeah. Yeah, so now you can see who read it when.
The problem with not taking notes is that I don't remember things unless it's brought up in conversation. That's typically why
Maybe
I
take
don't
notes?
bother taking notes, because if I have something to say about something, I'll remember it when someone mentions it. I'm sorry, the name that it currently has is not Turkey.
No,
it's
that's
the
I
mind.
was
Ke-
wrong.
That's the other one. It's the mind kestrel now.
Good.
Yeah. It's amazing that it turned from a bison into a bird.
Yep. Yeah, I think we just
It
decided
turned from a
Make some
bison
make some
into
wings
a
out of that
not
buffalo.
Turkey.
we just figured the bison they've had it
anyway.
rough enough. Okay, we need to put this onto something else.
So
I have a meme about a bionicle turkey.
But not
So that's-
Bionicle Chicken, our favorite community artist.
No, let Max speak. It's his job to lead the blind.
funny. That's a funny thing to say.
Hmm.
Anyway, so Tybus is like, hey, Trent Crom is pretty based anyway.
That really is. It's the entire story is just him fanboying about Trent Crom.
Back in the day when Trent Crom was in charge, everything was better.
Back in my day.
Anyway,
Back in my day,
Back in
nobody
my
could
day when
think.
nobody had brains.
Back in my day,
So-
nobody could think.
so our silly little mercenaries are like, hey, what's going on? Is our little tracker Rahi the Natarki picking up the scent?
Oh, okay. That's what you meant by the other thing that's called.
Yeah, that was my mistake originally because I had the thing in front of me and I was
It's
like,
very hard for me to keep track of there being two things instead of one thing.
I have to say that I love how these characters are basically multi-classing assassin and alchemist.
Yes. Yes, this is a
It's
D&D
very
party.
unique.
This is a D&D party, or if you will, a Red Star Games party. Liam, can you tell you played Red Star Games for more than one session and weren't incredibly disinterested in it? Were you like, how accurate is that statement that I made?
Repeat it? Sorry?
This is a Red Star Games session.
I mean, yeah, there's stuff that you could do stuff like that in Dora and I knew easy.
I only played Red Star Games once, and at the time had a lot of emotions, so I wasn't really feeling it.
Yeah, like every year they have a new major update at this point. So like whenever we do stuff for 8.10, we always have to redo our character sheets every single year because the
But enough
system
about
is like
my
half the system has changed.
But enough about my fragile emotional state. Let's move on. What are we talking about? They're gonna capture the guys. Let's go.
they're gonna capture the mind kestrel.
Yeah.
That's what they're here for. In fact, it says here specifically, Liam.
Shut.
The quote is, "Does Natarki smell our Rahi, the one we came here for?"
But first, they're gonna capture Brutaka,
enough out
right?
of you.
Sorry, I had to clown on you a little bit.
I will turn this
Seems a little
podcast.
convenient that the man has the mask of air
I will
purification for the
turn this
mission where he needs
podcast
it.
around, mister.
Hold on, I should deep fry this.
Silly. Anyway, I'm toxic today. It's all coming.
No one
out.
else is
It's all
toxic.
pent up from this season.
My mom.
Surprisingly, I'm not toxic, despite how colorful my persona is.
So, Axon and Brutaka have teleported into a tree. I don't remember how they did that, but they did that.
I think they just used the Olmec to get from the sinking boat onto the island.
Oh, that
At this
that
point
makes
in the
sense.
story, Brutaka is not very good at it. He's much better at teleporting across dimensions than he is at teleporting short range.
And dropping dinosaurs on cities.
Yeah,
he's
that's
good
pretty
at that.
funny.
He's
good at pranks.
He's good at teleporting across dimensions or causing catastrophes, but teleporting just a short distance, he's not good at that.
Yeah, it's not a Kowalski.
Yeah.
I do like the Kowalski, though. It's got a cool
There's
shape.
going to be a part later on where Axon tells him, use your Olmec to get that thing and bring it over here. And he's like, well, I'm sure
hold on.
me in
We'll get to
another
that.
universe will want that, but I don't know. I don't care about that guy.
I care about him.
I would love to make out with myself. Shut the fuck up, Agatha. Sorry. You were saying, Max, about how we're doing a podcast.
I'm looking. Hold on.
And there goes the focus.
So they're in a tree.
Yeah, they're in a tree.
Axon and
tree.
Brutaka sitting in a tree.
They're looking at the guards for the fortress or whatever.
Surprisingly, they have teleported into the tree and not into the tree, as in into the tree trunk.
That's the first thing I thought when I read that line. It's like, oh no, they've like teleported into the tree itself, and now they're fused with the tree.
Nope.
See, I never interpreted it that way.
I had just gotten done reading that.
Well, I'm a moron, you see.
I had just gotten done reading that happening to one of the demon lords, and that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Spoiler warning to anyone who hasn't gotten to that part yet. It's in the light novels.
Don't mention it to me.
It's all right. I wasn't listening.
So anyway,
they're in the tree.
Our mercenary friends, they find Axon and Brutaka, and they're like, "You're coming with us."
There's a really good jump scare at this bit, by the way. Just them talking, and suddenly someone else is in the room.
Yeah, they're like,
like
Lamau, that's funny.
That
makes sense.
That's one of the few instances where it's like the written equivalent to a jump scare is very difficult to pull off.
Yeah,
and I think this does it very well.
Yeah, so they're just summarizing to each other what the situation is, and then they're like smiling and nodding to each other, like, "Yep, makes sense." And then a third voice pops up, and you're like, "Yeah, I heard you."
Like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yep, makes sense. Oh, there's a third
They're
one
like,
here.
what? A third person also agrees that it makes sense. This can't be. I'm a disorganized Nelly. Wow, we've been going for 30 minutes. I need to pick up
you're
the pace.
very disorganized. You're a mess.
I mean, everything else is really short, so I think we're doing okay.
Yeah.
True. This is the main bulk.
Yeah.
I'm kind of going off of memory slightly here because
you're kind of a mess, but it's all right.
That's all right.
You'll be fine.
But my memory is kind of disjointed sometimes. Anyway.
Oh wow, you're me this week. How amazing.
No. So what's going on here? Hold on. I'm looking at the thing.
You're me this week. No, that's impossible.
Oh yeah, so Tybus is harnessing the gas from the mine kestrel, which is like a purple gas that what it does. Yeah. Yes, I understand. So what it does is it overrides the sentience in like Return Universe people. It's
I found this so dark, actually. That instantly made it so
absolutely
much darker.
This is like, it plays in so well with Trenkrom's brand of cosmic horror. Because it's not like any kind of standard horror. It's not like it's driving you insane. It's not doing anything to your body. It's taking away your ability. It's taking away your sentience. That's horrifying.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's doing it to a Matoran of psionics and just going, wonder how this will happen. Just perfectly casual.
He specifically he has a Matoran of psionics in a jail cell, and he wants to see, I wonder what'll happen to someone who is so, like, their mind is so damn important.
Who's already
to
so
them.
mental. Let's take away the mental mangle.
Like, this person, in addition to just being, I like being alive and knowing that I'm alive and being able to think, but also being alive and being able to think is kind of a spiritually important thing to me because I'm a psionic being. Nuh-uh, not anymore. Now you're just a worker drone that lives in a giant robot, but we don't know that yet.
Yes.
Another thing I hate about this moment is...
What do you hate?
I hate you. I absolutely hate that he's going on this tirade about, like, how could you even want sentience? Like, he's turned it into this twisted kindness of removing the burden of consciousness in his head, and that
he wants to make everyone smooth-brained because no thoughts equals head empty.
He's like, how can you even bear this? You shouldn't be thinking. I'm going to take this away from you. It's a kindness.
That's how cults
effective
work.
villainy. I am utterly spooked.
That's how cults work. This guy is terrifying.
Yeah,
he doesn't.
Wow.
I mean, he's not wrong. They would technically be happier because if you remove the ability to be sad,
I mean, they wouldn't be happier. They would feel nothing. That's the
but
the idea is that happiness isn't a price. Sadness isn't a price worth paying for happiness.
The thing is, existing kind of sucks, but you can't really make that choice for people. So fuck this guy. I love how effective he is as a villain.
Yeah, they gotta do it themselves.
Fuck.
This is the equivalent to this is the Matoran equivalent to a mass lobotomy.
Yeah. He wants to give everyone in the universe lobotomies.
I'm gonna continue. So he does it to the Matoran that he had trapped in prison in his little cages, and
the friend is just breaking down.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, this is so sad," and he's like, "You know what? I could remove that for you, buddy." Why do you want to be sad? Stop.
Just stop being
Stop
sad.
it. Get some help.
Yeah, I can help you stop being sad. Just let me do this.
This is exactly how cult leaders do.
He's like, ignorance is bliss, homie. This is the extreme form of ignorance is bliss.
Yeah?
But the effects are temporary for now because he's just testing it. So that's good news.
Yeah.
Yes. Tybus's boys are like burrowing into the volcano. That's pretty wild. They're causing tremors on the island, and people.
Of course, by the way, the villain has to have a volcano base.
Well,
yeah.
This is what you need to be cool.
The most efficient way. It's the most efficient way to launch nuclear weapons or chemical weapons or just any kind of weapons.
Honestly, as stereotypically mustache twirling it is, would you really expect anything less from a story with the subtitle of Ball Joints of Steel?
That's good. That's a good story right there. It's fun. Stories. If a story's fun, that's good to me.
Yeah.
This guy, he like wants to prevent the volcano from erupting and use the. Basically, he's like. He wants to shake up a soda can and then use it and then use the kinetic energy from it not going off as a battery.
He's dropping Mentos into the Great Spirit's Coke.
Yeah, he's screwing a lid onto the volcano and then watching it explode downward.
Yeah.
So the mercenaries, we're back with them. They've captured Brutaka and Axon, and it's revealed that they were Brutaka's old boys when he used to work for the Brotherhood of Makuta. Specifically when the Brotherhood of Makuta was still nice.
And let's not gloss over the fact that Brutaka died.
Yeah, they thought he died. And then they're like, you were our friend and you tricked us.
Oh yeah, that's right. He faked his death. But he faked his death, but they are aware of the legends of the Red Star, which is very interesting.
Religion.
I like that. One of them doesn't believe as well. I love that.
When you join the Illuminati, you gotta fake your death.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's possibly broken at this point. But it working was
It worked at some point.
recent enough that there's some could still be like aware of it.
This is like a long.
You know?
The first story of this took a long ass time ago. Took place a long ass time ago. So who knows when this took place?
Yeah.
I would guess also a long ass time ago.
I assume it definitely took place before the Metro Nui shenanigans
Well,
Yes.
yeah, I would.
because of the way that it ends.
Most of these are. But anyway.
Time for backstory.
Yeah, Brutaka just turns into the exposition fairy for basically the rest of this chapter.
That's what
And I
that's
couldn't
his,
be
that's his
couldn't be
purpose.
happier because every single one of these mercenaries wears a mask, wears a unique and situationally useless mask power.
Like most masks.
Yeah,
I mean, there's some.
I don't think that's odd.
I love this entire story. I hazard to say that it's one of the most important stories in our expanded canon because it just opens up so much lore.
Yep.
There is room for the multiverse to have more masks in it.
Okay, wait. Someone else is trying to speak. What who was
It
it?
was me. So every time there's a new Toa wave, so when we had the Toa Inaika, when we had the Toa Mari, there were all of a sudden brand new masks to contend with. And I think what's special about these guys is it's almost like they're a new set wave, and we're getting a new wave of totally unheard of masks. Like some other wave of canister sets have just been introduced. That's one of the things I really like about them.
way to think of it.
Yeah.
And in a way, they kind of are, because they're all based on the prototypes for the Toa Inaika.
Yep.
Are they? I
And
didn't
from
know
what
that.
from what I gather, they all use the prototype names for the Paraka.
Pretty much, yeah. So it's a
Yes.
combination of the prototype Toa Inaika with the names of the
The
Brock.
tracker. Oh, I get it.
The prototype Anaka from the magazine?
Yeah.
All right.
I did
Think
not
at the bottom.
actually read the trivia at the end, but I did glean that there was stuff on it.
Yeah.
My ADHD was really bad during the period where I had to read stuff. So I was like, I don't want to read any of this because I don't think this is narrative stuff. But I did know that it was there, and I knew it was important.
It definitely did help to understand some of the context of things. So I skimmed over a lot of it, but I took in most of the important bits.
Yeah, I didn't read that trivia section because I thought it would just be discussed in the episode by the person. But it turns
Well, they're
out
not
it's
here.
Yeah,
I bet it's your fault. I bet you did.
I mean,
this.
technically, it's Levi's fault.
Yeah, that's
No,
fine.
it's
It's all
absolutely
pointed laugh
my
at
fault.
Levi.
Absolutely, you will not blame Levi for anything. He is an adorable, precious cinnamon bun and can do no wrong.
Incorrect. I did it on purpose to spite you all.
Thanks.
It's okay, Levi. Even when you admit to your wrongdoing, you still did nothing wrong. You're a good boy.
Ah, sick.
Levi did
Yes.
9/11.
Yes, he did 9/11
Okay,
and it
well,
was
don't be
good.
telling them that.
Yes, he did 9/11 and
Someone
it was
will
good.
believe it.
Didn't you, Levi?
All joints can't melt
Liam,
steel
I
balls.
confided in you.
All right.
And
Order in the court. It's time for me to continue.
I deep fried the
So-
turkey meme.
I said order in the court.
That's
Anyway.
right, I fucked the fear turkey.
Stop it!
All right. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. You can talk. You can entertain the masses.
Okay, so the have the mercenaries has Brutaka's whole team revealed what they came here for yet?
Yes, they have.
Okay, so they came here for they revealed they came here for the mind kestrel because it was stolen from the Brotherhood of Makuta, and that's what they're here for. They're representing the Brotherhood because they work for them.
Indeed.
Yes.
And then what is these turkeys anyway?
You cannot escape the turkey.
Liam, put that picture in the episode so people know what I'm talking about.
No, I will make them think you are insane.
No, but you already agreed. You already acknowledged what I was saying. Anyway,
anything is possible in editing.
no, the Brutaka and Axon are tied up, and they're like, you know what? It's time to get out of here. So Brutaka uses Axon's road, his mask, the little fin on the top to cut through. He uses it like a
I
knife.
love this scene. It's
thought that was
he
a
just says to
wonderful
Axon, like,
subversion.
next time sharpen your mask.
This is
Not
yet
a
another
blade,
thing.
man.
This is yet another thing that I love about this story and why I consider it one of the most important of our expanded canon, because this right here, this is amazing.
It
I
really
did
is.
like that. That was a
They're
pretty
tied up
creative
and
way
they're
to
like,
get out of the
I
situation.
don't know how to get out of this, and Brutaka has this brilliant fucking idea that nobody has ever thought of, and he says, Axon, use your mask. And Axon's like, yes, I will interview the ropes and ask them nicely to please unravel. And then he says, no, you idiot, there's a fin on it.
Literally, use the mask.
Yeah.
Use the
I think
fin
that this-
on the mask.
I think that this is actually a wonderful subversion of the mask's usual abilities. Like,
Yeah.
it brings it down to something simple.
This is
I really
fucking
like that.
perfect.
Yeah.
I just like how creative it was, because I don't think any of us were even like considering that.
Yeah.
It's just one
It
of
makes
those
sense.
things.
It is
It's
shaped
just
that
one
way.
of those things that I literally never thought about, but as soon as I read it, I instantly thought, holy shit, that just makes sense!
See, this is one of those things you can only do in a story if you have, if you've established what characters look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another good point.
And that's another reason why, like, we definitely need to get that visual guide done for Vision of the Great Beings, because
need to do
we
that.
can't
I'm sorry.
we can't do this kind of thing if we don't have at least a basic outline, regardless of what the community thinks. Like, oh, I want the character to look like this or that or whatever. We can't just be like really, really vague about it forever, because we can't do creative things like this.
Exactly. We can't do cool stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm just like, wow. Just like, wow, somebody used the wow. Somebody's like using a rodent as a knife.
Anyway, so Macrani likes construction, and they don't like bricks.
They use that to test the rodent or the road, the Kanoe road. They think, oh, what if the Kanoe road is bugged somehow? Like, what if it's a they imply that a Kanoe road can be sabotaged.
Well, it could be a
That you
mask
can
of
make-
explosions in the shape of a road.
I interpret. Here's how I interpret this. I interpret it as you can just make whatever the fuck kind of mask power you want if you know what you're doing, and just people have forgotten how to do that by the time most of the other stories we read take place.
What they don't know is I poisoned their mask with C4.
Like, so this early on what I'm thinking is, this early on in the universe, you can have really bizarre ass mask powers, like mask of air purification, mask of walkie-talkie vision, mask of truth, except you can lie about this one specific subject so that when people wear this mask, you can lie to them and they won't notice.
The mask of selective truth.
Yeah, that's what they think. That's what they think Axon's mask is when he says, "Look, you can interview us while you're wearing my mask, and if I say lies, and if what I say is true, then you'll know." And then
the mask of source, trust me, bro.
Axon, yes, papa. Telling lies, no, papa.
Yeah, they specifically say, "What if it is a trick road?" Implying that such a thing exists, which means
so now we just need the Makuta to have a mask of lies.
the only plausible explanation for that is that at this point in the universe, you can make a mask out of with any power you could think of if you know what you're doing. And at some point, that knowledge is lost, and we end up with only the mask powers that we see for the rest of the story.
I don't think we know that though, because we only see we only see those masks with the limited group of characters we interact with.
Yeah.
I also think if we're gonna break this down logically, there's a couple possibilities. He could have just booby trapped the mask. There could be just poison or something on it. But also, there's the possibility that the shape and appearance of a mask isn't connected to the power of it. But
I know.
we know it
is
isn't. It's based on the power is based on what it was forged with.
So
Yeah.
you could forge a mask that appears to be a road.
Okay, but
Yeah,
here's
because
the-
like all the Toahaga wear masks that are not the standard shapes for the power that they possess,
Okay,
Yeah,
but
but
rather the
the-
designs are based off of those of previous heroes.
Yeah, the whole purpose of the shapes of masks in universe is purely just to easily identify what mask it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
but here's the thing. You can instantly tell what power a mask of truth has by doing this thing that they did. But they still specifically say, what if it's a trick road? They don't say what if it's not a road, or what if it's a fake mask, or what if it's
a road that just
what if
doesn't
it's-
work
what if
properly?
it's booby trapped?
But
That's it.
but what if it's a mask of shit your pants?
All right,
I
we're getting
I choose
out
to
of hand
believe
here.
that there is such a thing as a mask of selective truth.
This whole thing is a load of duty, if you ask me.
All right,
Mask of duty, let's go.
it's time to move on from that silliness. So we're going back to Shockdawn. It's probably not how it's pronounced, but I like to pronounce it that way.
That's how I always thought it was too.
Shockdawn. You
Yeah.
have to say it like that, though. That's what I mean.
Emphasis on the dawn.
Yeah.
Young,
I actually pronounced it in my head as Shockton.
Shockdawn,
Shockdawn.
apply directly
Same.
to the mask.
Young
Shockdawn,
Shock-
apply
Young
directly to
Shock-
the mask.
No, young Shockton.
Well, that's our thumbnail.
No.
Guys, no, the turkey, no, it has to be it has to be something relevant to sea shanties or turkeys or.
Well, we'll decide when the episode's over, when we covered the other stories.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yes, I like that idea.
so, excuse me. It's revealed that Shockton is not actually loyal to the Tybus man.
As
just,
cultists often are.
What's so funny?
Just to the Tybus, man.
That's what he is, isn't he?
He is indeed.
So he's not really loyal. He just wants to, take over.
As high-ranking cultists often are, there are authority drama.
Yeah.
Shockton goes to the
Leadership
little
issues.
prison complex. Whoops, my accent creeped in right there.
You have an accent?
Yes, I'm Polish. Remember?
No.
I know that.
I've never actually noticed an accent, in fairness.
I have one.
We all have accents.
Mine can be subtle. I have a lot of control over it generally because of just the way my life has been.
You have the mask of accents.
I guess.
No,
Anyway,
hiding accent.
so I don't know if I had it. I don't know. It just my voice it changes. It depends on the situation. It depends on how I'm feeling.
Loyal with High Point Mary. Go.
So anyway, Shockton frees the Matoran, the Talmatoran that witnessed its friend get smooth brained, and he's like, "What's your name?" And he's
Billy.
like, Dragano. And he's like, "Oh, you gross, you."
Stinky.
How about fire
doo-doo.
Dracax?
Yeah.
It turns out
Poo
that this is a
pee pee poo poo.
It turns out that this is a reference to
A Dark Hunter.
competition.
Yeah, it's a
um,
Matoran that fell in like energized protodermis and then became a Dark Hunter later.
Yeah.
Well, no, it was as far as I could find out from my research, it was a competition winner that was originally named by the creator Dragano, but when he was brought into the story, it seems that the guys at Lego just went, "Nah, that's a terrible name. Fire
Dracax.
Yeah, and they also
I
put his
only-
head on backwards.
Yes, they did. I honestly think Dragano's better.
I
don't know
agree.
why they did that.
Dragano sounds more bionicle like.
More often than not, it's because the lawyers were unable to secure clearance rights for the name.
That's fair, yeah.
Who's
It's
called
the
their
same-
character Fire Dracax?
That's the thing.
Lego.
If they can't confirm that a name is free for use, that makes them more afraid. Basically, if they can confirm that the name has already been used somewhere, they can acquire the usage rights to the name. But if it's too creative, that means that they have to figure out if there are figure out new usage rights for it.
Yeah, it's the same thing they did with Conjure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and this is where Shockton reveals he is Conjurer. That's him. This is the same moment. He's like, that's me. I think he does it in his head though. Or does he? Anyway.
You're my hi Johnny. I didn't see you there. You're my favorite customer. That's
he is
me.
my favorite customer. Who is doing this anonymous on the thing?
What?
I'm on the text document for the story, and someone is adding ellipses.
You're telling
sorry.
Lisa.
No, I accidentally just pressed the delete button like just now, and I tried to undo that, and it just gave another one.
Don't do that.
Oh, no. This is why we don't share edit links.
Yeah. Anyway.
Levi.
So that was you silly man.
Levi, do not kill Myths and Legacy.
Levi,
do not delete our work.
Levi, you need to buy a fidget toy.
I absolutely do. You are correct.
I have several.
I think this is the most chaotic episode we've done so far.
Is it?
You should see season 1.
Oh, yeah, true. This is the only the most chaotic one I've been a part of.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh dear.
Tybus is continuing his plan to use the Mind Kestrel to flood the goddamn volcano with gas and make everyone into smooth brains.
Yep.
Ray.
Yes.
Gas had a very different implication when it was a
if I
bison.
would join him. Maybe I would join his cult.
You stop that.
I would join his cult, I
Oh, it was fart gas.
No, it's purple. What am I saying?
So the cow
What
farts and make you stupid.
So
I like
Tybus is
this.
at the top of the volcano with his cultists.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they're about to be like, hey.
I genuinely thought that the
praise the
people that were
cow.
up there at the top of the volcano were already mind wiped,
Nope.
and we were just gonna see them fall in or something.
Nope.
It'd be funny.
This is a cult.
It was quite a spooky visual, actually, to conjure.
Yep.
I
This is-
was expecting this to go the direction of The Happening.
This is a cult, and these people are worshiping the cow, which I have decided is a cow because I like the image of it being a cow that farts and makes you stupid.
Yes, the cow
No,
named
it's
the
a bison.
Kestrel.
What is a bison if not a cow?
It's not.
I think as well.
What is the difference between a buffalo and a bison?
What?
In other words, it's a bovine. It's a creature it's genetically similar to a cow.
Is it?
Is it?
But they can't bang.
Yeah, they're not allowed.
The point is, it's a cow that farts and make you stupid, and there are people surrounding it on the
But it's
top of a
not.
volcano
It's a
worshiping.
bird.
It was a cow, but now it's a bird. It's a bird cow, and it farts and makes you stupid.
Acceptable.
What were you
Anyway.
gonna say, Bob?
I quite like the visual of this. It really seems to evoke the first chapter book of 2006 when you have the Matoran of Voya Nui standing on top of Mount Balmai. And they're similarly, they're infected with the antidermis, with the Zamor spheres. The volcano...
That's an interesting observation.
Yeah, the volcano imagery, I think, really ties it together. And it just really sets
Well,
Tybus
yes.
up as a sort of Bond-esque villain.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, I think that's where I got that idea from, because I'm thinking back to that story now, and I think that in that story, one of the Matoran does trip over something and just falls in.
Exactly. Yeah, just a disposable Matoran to just set the stakes.
Yeah. And I think that was the exact moment where Bionicle jumped the shark with its dark storytelling.
Yeah, really. I think as well,
There were
That
literally
book's really-
there were literally sharks in 2007.
but did we jump them?
Indeed.
No,
But it was
we swam
2006.
over them.
We jumped
Anyway.
the Takia shark. Moving on.
Yes. Moving on. We
This
got.
podcast has jumped the shark.
Well, hey, you can't put the Toa back in the canister, all right?
At some point, the mercenary
They were
who's not
designed
wearing,
this way.
At some point, one of the mercenaries who's not wearing the mask of air purifier notices that the atmosphere of this island makes him dizzy.
He's huffing the stupid gas.
Yeah, it's almost as if the island is covered in dumb juice.
Yeah.
Stop huffing the cow farts.
Jenkum.
Oh, God.
It's Jenkum.
I thought you were the one that was adamant that it was a bird.
Oh
a
God,
bird.
it is Bird Jenkum, isn't it?
I was the one who was adamant. Not him. I didn't say anything.
Oh, Lordy.
I didn't say anything just
bird
now.
cow.
Well, that's the name of the episode, Huffing the Bird Jenkum.
All right. Anyway, so Brutaka and Axon, they're going through the underwater chutes in the Matanui robot, because they're like, now we can get to Tyvus. Oops.
I agree.
That was excellent. Good
Thanks.
acting. I like it.
At first, they thought they
choked
would
a
have to go all the way to the
Now
beach.
Max is huffing the bird juice.
At first, they thought they were going to have to go all the way to the beach to access the underwater chutes, but then Axon
Yeah, but then
smashed
Axon
something.
just like chopped a hole in the ground, and he's like, oh.
he pulls a nocturne.
He broke the island, bro.
Gotta lift that island, bro.
Anyway, so they're
Dost
going
thou
to,
even lift?
they're going to the volcano, and they're like, all right, it's time to fight this Tybus boy. I don't know what I mentioned, but Tybus is was part of the hand of Artaka, so he was one of the guardians of the Matoran universe when Trent Crom was still in charge.
Yeah.
Pre-Matanui.
I don't know if I love or hate actually, but when one of the commanders is just like, we're soldiers of the hand of Artaka, Rako goes, hand, eh? Too bad you fight like less savory body parts. Did he just call him a pussy?
Yeah.
Did Rako just call this man a pussy?
No, the story is called balls. He called him a ball sack.
You fight like a ball sack. Does not work.
You fight like a ball sack, Levi 2024.
Anyway, yeah. So Axon is trying to fight the guy, and the guy is trying to talk about about religion, and Brutaka is just there with his finger on his chin, like, huh. I never thought of it that way.
Maybe
Axon's
he's
like,
Think emoji.
Maybe
Axon-
he's spitting.
when Axon is just screaming at him, like, stop thinking and start fighting. And then Brutaka points out, hey, my guy, are you wearing a mask of air purification?
No,
No, he's wearing like a breathing apparatus.
he's wearing a gas
No,
mask.
Yeah.
Not a Kanohi, but an actual like gas mask.
The version
And
of
it's
the
like,
story,
hey, if you think you're so superior, then why don't you take that stupid mask off and prove it?
yeah, because
Yeah,
supposedly,
prove that you were inherently sapient.
supposedly the stupid gas makes you stupid only if you weren't meant to have sapience.
It
Yeah, and
only
he's
works
like,
if
shoot.
it only works if you weren't enlightened by someone with shovels for hands.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
and he's like,
but,
damn,
Typhus here,
they've rumbled me. They have a point.
Typhus here isn't confident that he is supposed to be sapient,
But credit where it's due, he does it anyways.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting him to submit to logic and fall on
It's
his own
because
sword just to
Because
test
he
that
needs to
thing.
be
I
sure of
inter-
himself, you know.
I interpret this as he never once considered not wearing a gas mask for this, but once he had it pointed out to him, he realized, oh fuck,
I don't know I'm right.
I don't know I'm
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
I must
And it was-
prove it.
Earlier in the story, Axon actually told Brutaka not to listen to Typhus and just fight him without having a conversation. And so this is not typically what people mean when they say you can win a battle by using your words instead of your weapons, but that is what happened here. Brutaka won the fight by doing what Axon told him not to do, which is having a conversation about religion with the guy who runs the cult.
Brutaka just set up a little stand saying, God is real, change my mind.
I hate it.
Anyway, so the guy takes his gas mask off and just walks into the shadows where all the poop farts are.
So yes, so he goes in and he's kind of, it's kind of ambiguous as to what happens to him. I'm
Like
assuming
loose end left,
he went
yes.
smooth-brained.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I'm assuming he went smooth-brained because he too is a Robo-Man. But
Nothing that lives
Anyways.
in the Matoran universe was meant to be this.
I'm actually I'm not sure if I'm sad or happy that this loose end has been left, because it could mean that Tybus just drinks the dumb juice and becomes a smooth brain, or it could mean that he's right and he'll come back even more zealous. And I really like this character. I think that this might be one of the most compelling villains that Bionicle has.
There's one of many reasons I like this story so much is because of how open it opens up the story. It opens up the universe so much, and then there's this guy.
Yeah.
Who may or may not be in a nursing home now.
No. He said, Axon, I need you to promise me if the poop farts make me stupid, you kill me because I can't live like that. I just can't.
Yeah, and he's just like, and you would put this fate that you wouldn't suffer onto others.
Yeah.
That went hard. I like that.
This is typical cult leadership. He doesn't give a shit about anyone that's not him.
Until he does, until it's pointed out to him. That's what's so interesting about him to me. He just hasn't quite thought his plan through, and he's desperate to test if he's correct the second it's pointed out.
Just never for a moment questioned.
You just never thought about this specific detail.
Why am I wearing a gas mask?
He's just a typical zealous, what's the word?
Religious zealot.
Cult. Yeah, he's a religious zealot.
Zealot is a word. He is your typical religious zealot cult leader. I like this guy.
Well, rip in peace, probably.
Rip in pepperoni.
No, he's
brothers.
not dead.
Mentally. He's as good as dead, essentially.
Even vegetables are alive.
That's a whole other debate.
Even though he begs Axon to kill him if the poop farts make him stupid, we don't find out if he does. I don't know if he had time.
But we do get a really good back and forth between Axon and Brutaka after this that really sets up Brutaka's turn later in the story, because this is where he really starts to question everything.
If Matanui is actually based.
Yeah.
Also, they decide to bring because they told Brutaka's old friends about the Order of Matanui. They just decide to commission them into the group and fake their deaths.
And I forget if it's before or after this point, but we also get a moment between Pterodax and Miserix, who go to the ruins of that island and recover the Mind Kestrel, which is determined to be the only surviving thing that they can find on the island. And the rest is just a smoldering crater.
And interestingly, Pterodax decides very willfully to bring it to Metronui to put in the archives.
Yeah, and he gives it to Nuparu.
And then it's what the Vahkiti are based on.
He tells Nuparu no research is ever to be done on this thing, and he gives a very detailed summary of exactly what it is capable of. And he describes all of the Vahkiti's staff powers.
I didn't catch that.
I did.
Here he is.
So this thing is presumably the source of all the Vahkiti's powers.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That does seem to be implied now you mention it.
Yes.
And Nuparu definitely followed his instructions to the letter. Definitely.
Or what possibly happened is he heard that description and he's like, hey, that's actually a cool idea, and he just did it on his own.
I do just love that they hand over this incredible beast to Nuparu, and he's just like, yeah, right, you could make some really, really cool stuff with this, but you shouldn't.
Turning people into vegetables sounds fun.
Don't make the incredibly cool robots that do super cool stuff. Don't do it. Just keep it in the dungeon.
And then we meet up. And then we meet up with the mercenaries. They're having their shit inventory.
Yes, the story comes full circle.
They ask the guy inventorying their shit, why he's inventorying their shit, and he asks them, do you have any other ideas on how we're supposed to know what all of our people have? And they're like, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. I agree.
I don't know why I said that. Sorry.
It's okay, Mac. I love you.
Thank you, Max. Very cool.
So Brutaka and Axon are going home to Daxia, and Axon's like, bro, you keep telling people about the order. They're gonna send us off to a remote island just to stop us from telling anyone. He's like,
in the foot.
And then they do that.
Yeah, they actually do, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything.
In Order of Maranui, they have a 3-strike system.
And it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out in the Illuminati.
The ancient sphere game. Anyway.
Next.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's it. The end.
Well, I forget it. Well, I forget exactly where it was, but we can't gloss over this story's obligatory ball joint joke. You're just taking the piston.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
I love it. I hate it, but I love it. I love it. I hate it. I love it. I hate it. I love it. I hate it.
That was the first thing. When I first read that, I immediately went to Gonal, and the server was like, yep, there it is. I was waiting for it. There it is.
Well, I know a secret.
Hmm?
That line was my only contribution to this story.
Oh, so it's your fault.
Good job.
Oh, so it's your fault.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, my fault. That's the reason I'm in this call
90%
discussing
of
this
the
one.
story.
Learn to sleep with one eye open, my boy.
Ronell was like, how do we top the ball joints joke? Like, how do we do that? How do we follow that up? And I'm like, well, pistons. Taking the piston.
My good
Taking the
boy.
piss.
My good boy. This is the same piss joke that was in Cars.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh no.
The first time Mater
Oh, no.
the first time Mater hears the name of the tournament that Lightning McQueen is in, he piston cup. He screams. He spits out his drink and then screams, "He did what in his cup?"
That's pretty funny.
It is pretty funny.
No.
It is pretty funny.
pissed in the cup.
Cars is actually a very good movie. It just happened to be Pixar's worst movie at the time, and it disappointed a lot of people to know that Pixar was capable of movies that were not tremendously awesome.
I thought Cars.
right.
I thought Cars 1 was pretty good, but Cars 2 was the.
It
Yeah,
was pretty
right.
good. It was pretty good, but it wasn't up to Pixar's standards.
But they are doing
Says who?
better now. I saw Inside Out and Inside Out 2 the other day. They're
Don't
really
tell me
good.
anything about it. I still
I love
haven't
those
watched
Bionicle
it.
movies.
Don't- Oh yeah, I love
that.
Bionicle.
I love talking about these Bionicle movies right here.
Oh, I love Bionicle. I love Bionicle so much. I love
All
the
right.
part where the four teenagers play the game and end the world, and then they meet and then they meet the trolls that live on the meteor. And there's this guy, and then there's
Always
this
with the
chest
homies.
guy that stabs people.
Enough.
My
Right.
favorite part is when we continue with the podcast.
Yeah.
I was talking about Homestuck again. That's the joke.
Also like that part.
So yeah, we've done more than an hour. It's time to move on. Well, but before we move on, what was everyone's thoughts on that story? Quick, one sentence.
Beautiful.
Choose it wisely.
The most important story ever.
Good. Next person.
I think that overall this was such a compelling read. I loved Tybus. I think that we need more of him so bad. I also
that's
just
it.
loved.
There was a
That
period
appeared to be
there.
far more than one sentence.
You paused for half a second. You
That
must
appears to be
stop
far more-
speaking now.
You cannot
That
stop me.
appeared to be far more than one sentence, and if you were anyone else, Levi, you would be dead
I
by
will
now.
semi your colon.
Liam, what's your thought? Your one sentence thought?
I was a little worried about it at the beginning when I first read the sea shanty because it seemed a little bit cheesy. But as the story went on, oh, and Racco was a very strange name. But as I
Yes.
began to read the story more, and once I understood what the names of those characters were actually pulled from, it made a lot more sense.
Liam, that
Good, thank
was
you.
also more than a sentence, but I'm
Bite
going
me.
to.
No, that was a long sentence.
Yes, I'm going to send a meteor to your house right now. It will be there at the
I
end
got
of
two
the
more people to
podcast.
ask. Guests, what are your one sentence thought in that story?
My thoughts are Turaga and Axon
Thoughts?
go to James Bond Island and have a good time.
Good.
Very nice.
Viro, do you have a thought on that story in one sentence?
Keep it in one sentence.
I learned of having to read all of the other stories today, so I couldn't
Oh no.
do it.
Oh, that's okay.
Sentence
Oh
end.
dear.
I read one of the other stories though. I didn't manage to read 36 pages today. I'm sorry.
It's fine. I'm glad
That's all right.
that this was how you found out about this story.
Yes. By us telling you what happened.
Yes.
Very chaotically.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
usually
yeah,
not this chaotic. I've just
That's a lie, and you know it.
I usually have like detailed notes as to what to go in.
I'm confused as to whether or not you deserve to die for your sins, so I'm going to send another meteor to Liam's house.
All right, it's time for the next story. It's a short one. It's called Spares. It's by Tannock Trapper. He's been on the podcast before,
Hey.
but he's not here today.
I love this one.
Yes, and that's the one I've read as well. So
Oh,
Nice.
you will have a
Adorable.
1-sentence thought, except it will be more than one sentence this time because we'll have time.
The whole
Anyway.
the story might as well be one sentence. Let's go.
So, Bears. It's about Nuparu fixing Nuri during
Half
the
dismantled.
naming day.
Yeah, it starts with
rebuilding.
an immediately horrifying visual, so
Yes.
that's great.
Mhm.
I liked it. Yeah, so Nuri's, he's kind of been stripped down to his organs. He's
And
suspended.
he's awake and speaking, too.
Pain off.
The switch. It's a switch.
I
Shocked
hope
on, applied directly to the mask.
Enough.
I hope he's not in pain, but it implies here that he's only mildly annoyed.
Yeah.
Well, because he's annoyed because Nuparu broke his mask.
Yeah.
And
He
it's
stepped
implied
on
that
it.
he breaks masks often.
Yeah.
Constantly.
No, he didn't step on it. Something fell on the mask and it shattered.
Yeah, he
And he's like,
dropped a
"Oh,
Bohrok
no."
on it.
Dropped something. He dropped a piece of a Bohrok because his workstation
Oh no, sorry, a Boxor.
his workstation is a mess, as engineers often do keep their workstations a mess.
I know one. I can agree to that.
Considering how durable these masks are, you'd think it would be a little bit harder to accidentally break one. But
Yeah, this is coming from the same line of stories where Huki is known for smashing boulders into his head.
It's about the angle.
But
You know?
Nuparu has not only found a way to accidentally smash one mask, but it is implied, if not outright a known fact, that he has broken many masks on accident while repairing Matoran's bodies.
I have a question about this.
Yeah?
I've only learned today that he apparently that Nuri apparently has a Komao canonically.
No. He originally did in Minogue, but this
Yes.
story specifically is in reference to a bug with Minogue 2.
Yes, it
Where
is, yeah.
they misspelled Komao in the code as Kamau, so that anyone who had Komaus would automatically fall back onto the default mask in the code, which was the cow.
But
Indeed,
Ah!
So this story,
was this found out recently? Because I still have the image of the Kauka wearing Nuri in my mind from the page.
Well, yes, because in Minogue 2, everyone who was supposed to have a Komao had a cow by mistake.
Yes,
Even Turaga
I get that.
Anawa?
I mean, wasn't the Kauka picture of Nuri on the main page of Biosector 1 for its info
but
box?
if you look back at
time?
BSO1, it's actually been updated because of this. Like, they've gone with what was originally intended.
Right,
Wait.
yeah.
Okay.
What?
So
Yeah,
I do remember correctly.
there was a huge debate about that going on for weeks when we first found out about this, and especially after we talked to Peter Mack, and he gave more information about those new Lematoran that were cut from the game. And eventually we did decide that yes, because it wasn't intentional, that unless there was anything that Greg said to contradict it, that they should have a Komao.
Okay, so but the game still wasn't updated, right? So
no,
Or almost
the
never
game
fixed.
wasn't updated.
okay,
Liam,
so
update the game now!
I think as well, they've also updated
Without
it for Kiwi too. It was also a similar case of having the mask misspelled.
Yeah.
Shit!
No,
that's
with the
interesting.
exception, yes, of the Turaga, anyone that was supposed to have a Komao just didn't.
that's actually some niche law I learned today. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I just find it interesting that this story was written in order to justify a non-canon appearance in MNOG 2 for one character.
I
Just
interpreted
to justify why his mask changed from...
I interpreted it as an explanation for why a Tomatoran would wear a mask with water breathing.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean,
That's also pretty interesting.
The ridicule this guy
'Cause the
gets
mask
in
looks
this
cool.
story.
That's why.
I didn't realize this bullshit. I didn't realize that there was actually, a bug that this was a reference to. I just thought, yeah, like Matoran have like certain, like they assign spiritual meaning to certain types of masks. Matoran that wear Pikaris are like, oh, this represents strength, and I gotta embody strength, even though the mask itself doesn't actually do that because I'm a fucking baby.
Well, that was also in like fan-made stories.
Yeah. Well, they're canon as far as we're concerned now, so we gotta go with that. But, yeah. So why would a Tomatoran, a Pomatoran, or an Onumatoran, or a Leomatoran, any of those? Why would any of them wear masks with water breathing? Because Nuri's an idiot. That's why.
No, because they look cool.
Well,
because they don't have powers.
Cool.
So Nuparu had no other masks laying around, and he gave him a Komau, and then everyone pointed and laughed.
Yeah, he gave him a cow, and then
Or
everyone
cow,
pointed
yes.
and laughed.
Hey,
See,
Nuri,
you
going
made the
for a
mistake
swim?
in reverse. Anyway, that's the story. Everyone pointed and laughed at Yuri, except for Kiwi, and then Kiwi's like, "Hey, yo."
Since it's the only mask that has an eye shield because it's designed for its use, it would actually be good for welding. So once they move to Metronui, he's probably going to be like, oh yeah, having a cow is actually really good for me because I don't got to wear a separate welder's mask over my mask.
Well, even in Takoro, it would also be a help in certain circumstances because it'll prevent volcanic ash from getting in your eyes.
But
who's laughing now?
It's like wearing an apron in public. People are gonna make fun of you because you gotta do apron things.
You gonna make a delicious meal, huh? You gonna cook? You gonna bake me a cake, huh?
Yes.
I'm going to bake you a delicious cake, and I'm going to feed it to you, and you're going to be like, oh wow, that's so great! Thank you for this delicious cake.
Yes, I am going to bake you a cake, and I'm going to force feed it to you.
I'm going to bake you into your cake.
Oh, wait, sorry.
Yes, I am going to bake a cake, and you're the main ingredient.
Sorry, I just remembered a comment you made about the mask being broken. I think it's a matter of how it gets hit, because it's like if you slap a pane of glass with the back of your hand, you're not gonna really. It's gonna be a lot harder to break it, as opposed to like hitting it with something sharp.
Can we also
pointed,
all appreciate all of the masks that are broken? We had Jala's mask, we have Nuri's mask, and we had Kopeke's mask. They were all Komaus.
Presumably everybody else who's ever changed mask at any point in time also had their mask broken at that time.
I think that the real takeaway here is that Komaus just have an inherent design flaw that makes them more breakable.
Specifically the Komaus that were created by Nuri.
They're structurally unsound.
That is incredibly ironic then, if all of his Komaus break and then his own Komau breaks.
Yep.
In my experience, it's the Hows and the Mirus that have a design flaw. The plastic is too thin.
You say that. I've never had either one of those masks.
I've
even
never had
bend.
a mask break. Period.
Actually, I've had a Miru with a.
I think stress marks on the mirror are kind of common, aren't they?
Actually, I have a Miru that was given to me by you, Viro, that had a stress mark.
Yeah, see?
Well, we have you in this call.
I have some damaged masks I'll take photos of after this podcast is over.
The most common one, to my understanding, is the Vahi. The Vahi almost always has stress marks on it, just because of how thin it's designed in the point where the fins attach to the actual body of the mask.
The Vahi was itself a prototype for the mask gimmick in general, so it was designed to utilize as little plastic as possible.
Right.
Do we have any other thoughts on that story, or shall we move on?
I just like the idea that the cow was basically the mask of convenience.
It was the mask of not crashing the game.
Yeah.
Mask of error backup.
And yet there's never an explanation for why he goes from wearing a Ruru to a Komau.
It's the mask of not having the red circle of death appear.
So does anyone have any actual thoughts, or shall I move on?
My only actual final thought for this is that I just find it really interesting that Tannock Trapper has gone to the effort to write a short story just to explain a single bug in MNOG 2.
Yeah.
I love it. I love
Pretty
it.
cool.
It's
Yeah, I like that
adorable.
as well. It's just a
I loved
kind
it
of
before-
super niche
I loved
event
it before-
story, which is great.
I love this story before I knew it was a bug in MNOG 2. I love it more now.
Yeah,
I
actually,
like
same.
this I like this episode.
Same. We've got some good stuff here.
Got some epic stuff here.
Variki fan art is canon! Let's go! Moving on!
Yeah, let me move on, please.
Yes!
says the person stopping me. No, but
Some
got-
Gobstory and Drew some Variki fan art!
enough. So we got.
Enough. My ship sails in the morning.
Let me speak, please. So we got next story is Sunset at Naho Bay, written by Viro. Oh wait,
Ooh.
that's our guest. Oh my goodness, hello.
Indeed.
Incredible. Hi.
So it's your
So-
fault! I
Yeah, it's my
love
fault.
you!
Okay.
The rest of whatever you said cut off, but yeah, it's my fault, definitely.
I
My
love
name on
you! Thank you!
All right. So this is a story about Pelagia, and she's packing to go to Metro Nui with the boats and such. And it's kind of a story where she's kind of reflecting on things.
She gazes whimsically
Sort of
at
enjoying.
She gazes
Yeah,
whimsically at her 7th Toa OC.
Yes, the Bohrok
Yes.
statue.
It is. Yeah, the little like stone statue, whatever, is definitely a Voriki reference.
That's great.
It
like
was
that.
it was blue, but apparently turned purple in the sun.
Yes.
I like that. It's just such a nice, not needed, but excellent detail. I like
I
that.
love
Yeah.
it.
It's
Yeah, thank you,
subtle.
thank you. Yeah, too. It's not like completely pointing it out. Yeah, right.
Yes.
But that's great to hear your reaction. Thank you.
So yeah, so after she's kind of like looking around for the last time at Gakoro, she gets on the boat and
she
they
decides
leave
not
with some
to bring
Pomatoran
her
as well.
Variki fan content.
That's also true.
That's
Definitely.
usually
I
what
like-
happens in
I
the
can
story.
bring this
But
stuff, but it's cringe.
I'm
Yes.
trying to picture this boat that they're getting on in my head. It comes across to me as like a combination between like a cruise ship and a bayou riverboat.
Yeah, the image in my mind wasn't that clear, I must say. I think I had just had an upscaled version of the MNOG boat in my mind.
Right. But the way it's described as having like multiple levels, I think it was, it makes me think of like some kind of riverboat.
Yeah, I mean, could be. It's been a few years since I've written this, but yeah, makes sense.
you can make it what you want it to be.
It's some sort of shenanigan from Metro Nui.
So what inspired you to make the story, friend?
I was
Yes.
going to ask that as well, yeah.
Okay, so I think from the Custom Bionicle wiki, we had like writing prompts or like contests. I'm not sure anymore. It's been a while. And this story was originally written in 2021. And I published it like a year later, and it now only just now appeared in Mist and Legacy. And so kind of the idea was to capture that summer feeling or nostalgia or something, like with the warm winds and whatever, like one of the maybe last days of summer where you, like before school starts again or whatever, just taking in the scenery and also being ready. What also went into this, and I've kind of rediscovered this as I reread my own story, this was written a year after I moved out from my parents' place, cleared out all the childhood stuff. So the Variki reference is, of course, a reference to the character, but also like, I mean, when you have your childhood home, you accumulate so much stuff, Full Blue Dragon you liked like at age 10 or something, and it's stuffed in some drawer somewhere and you forget about it. And it's kind of has kind of a reflection of my own moving out from my childhood home, and of course clearing out all of my old stuff. So it kind of has that energy, subtext only I get, and the people who listen to me, of course.
I like that.
I think I actually have that you and I differ greatly in that department, because I think I have more bullshit than I did when I was a kid.
Oh wow.
Yeah, same.
I've grown really conscious
But I'm a collector,
about
so
like my
Yeah.
possessions when I moved out, because you have to carry all that stuff.
Yeah. I think when I moved out, I had to take like 3 separate car trips to get all of my stuff over. And
wow.
then every other time I've moved since, I've had to like increase the size of the vehicle that I've required. The last time I moved, I had like a truck that was like, I had to get a moving truck that was made for like a 3-bedroom apartment.
Oh wow, okay.
Apparently, I'm sorting my bullshit
I want
out
to
right
avoid
now.
that.
I said I wasn't going to, but I'm doing it because I have ADHD.
Also, one more thing that goes into this, which is kind of a segue to other topic I'm here for today. This is also kind of based on the story direction we wanted to go with the third Matani Online game. So which was set, or was supposed to be set during the time before the Matoran kind of moved to Metro Nui, like a last story before the departure there. So it's kind of like in that time frame.
It's a shame that project never got finished, but it's great that we have access to albeit an early version of the source code. So if anyone did want to pick it back up, they probably could.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have the newest version as a source code, right?
Last I heard about it, which was at this point a couple years ago, I think. I forget who it was that I talked to. You may have been involved in that conversation. It's been a while, but it was an earlier version, and I think one of the more recent versions was available, but it was in a zip file that was password protected, and nobody knew what the password was.
Oh no.
Well, we did rediscover the newest version, which is playable at least. I'm not sure about the source code, definitely. No idea. But
I think we had the newest build and an older source.
Ah, okay, yeah, okay. I mean, the original like discussion about that, or the whole group chat is lost somewhere on Skype.
Yeah, it's in Discord still. I just forget where it was.
I mean, like the original when we developed it.
Oh yeah, because we had a group chat as well when we were discussing like archiving the source and everything.
Yes, to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this story, back to the story, I've never published it to the contest. I'm not sure if that ever concluded. Maybe Papa Nui has some insight on that.
This was just a writing prompt. So it was, I think the original prompt behind this was to write a story from the perspective of a side character. And that was it. It was just like to trigger people to write stories. And I think you went with this one for Pelagia. And this sort of farewell to Gakoro. And it's a very canon compliant story, which I wasn't really expecting. But it kind of works perfectly to bookend this period of Maranui and the departure from the island that we've come to know all this time. And as you're saying, packing up and leaving home, it really fits the tone of this story. It has a sort of metatextual link.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, it's also one, I think, the first completely written out story that I ever did in English, at least. Before, I don't know how many people of you know that. I used to do comics, and back when I did the first comics, my English was passable, but the writing wasn't the strongest, and having pictures really helped avoiding, or helped to avoid having to write about landscapes and feelings and summer winds and something like that. So this is kind of the first step into that. And also my comic series was completely OC characters, so this is the first time of canon compliance. Yes.
You know what that reminds me of? The other day, I was talking with Essenger in Discord, and we realized that Dark 709 is still around.
Yes.
And apparently he made a mobile game back in 2020 for his original characters from his comics.
Yes.
Who is that?
An old sprite comic artist on BZ Power.
He was one of the more popular ones, actually.
Yeah.
That
was interesting to find out, and that Chimoru LLC is the name of his company, I guess.
Okay,
Why wouldn't it be?
Interesting how where people go in life, yeah.
Yeah.
The quote unquote dummy character from his comic, the comic relief, Mr. Zambu. A big green guy wearing a gray Cow. Does that ring a bell?
No. I don't think I ever actually read the comics. I was just aware of him.
Okay, well, his Dark 709 self-insert was a Lamatoran that was fully infected and wore a How.
Neat. Anyways, moving on.
None of this rings a bell for anyone except me, apparently. Okay.
I think it's time to move on to the next story, eh?
There's a
Yeah.
question
Which
before
one
him,
would that be?
because we
It's the
shall we
Bohrok Wars.
like jump into the MNOG 3D discussion at this point, because it's kind of related to the story at least.
Yeah, I think we'll have some time to discuss that.
Okay.
Well, what was your role in that project?
Yeah, I was a writer. I found our like boss. We called him that sometimes, not like he wanted that, just a joke. From the team. He posted SpexOwl, and I think the real name, and he posted some screenshots of like a Rahi render on BZ Power, and I just contacted him like, I don't know, do you need help? I can't really like help in game development, but maybe you need like text for your characters. And with that, with my public question, we kind of assembled a small team of people. And so I think like 60 to 70% of the dialogue in the game is written by me.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think the greatest part was when we released that demo. I assume you all played. Beforehand, I only had like updates and like build versions of the game, and I saw all the new like stuff they integrated, like the underwater music, of course, the little like shells you find, the elevator with the upside down Mata torso, which with the pumps and such. But like my contributions always felt like not much changed because it was just text. And when we finally released it, it was so gratifying to finally hear people or see people engage with the content I provided, which was amazing, of course.
Mm.
And yeah, well, just for some insight into the project, we for the demo we released, we had like a tight schedule. So like we had a few days to work on it. Everybody like submitted their content and we were done, which is great. But like, yeah, afterwards it kind of fell apart, probably just because SpexOwl or Ryan tried to find a job. I think he got something in 3D, like animating for something. I don't know. And well, that kind of took over his life. And without like somebody like leading the project, it kind of nobody of the other contributors were like skilled enough to pull the whole project forward. Like
Yeah, that's
so
kind of like the same kind of thing that's happened over at Lightstone with The Legend of Mana Nui. It's not something I really discuss too often because we do want to get another patch out at some point. But, you know, at this point, it's been 6 years.
Oh.
And it's a game project that, you know, because we don't have the source code and we had to develop a lot of our own tools, it required a very specific set of skills to get really anything in a functional state. And there's still things that we can't do with it because the tools just haven't been made. Like we can't make animations, for instance. So when ultimately it came down to a lot of those people with those specific skills started having other things that they needed to handle in life. And especially when people like Grandpa Walker, their 3D modeler, started having other projects to handle, it just got to a point where we had to decide, well, we're just going to have to wrap up development here because we can't progress the way we want the game to be any further from here without those people involved.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I'm gonna have to cut this off here. We got to move on.
Understandable.
Yeah, but it's time for the Bohrok Wars again.
Indeed.
Again, yep.
Are you ready?
I skimmed this to try to find anything that was not familiar, and then I read it.
Good.
I recovered my notes from the previous time I read it, and we just didn't cover it.
How about you do it? You do the summary. No, I'm just joking. I'm joking.
I had like 2 notes.
I'm joking.
You brag about your notes and you're immediately rumpled.
Apropos of nothing, I would like to give Levi head pats.
Good.
Levi,
Good boy.
you do the summary.
Yeah, sure, I can, to be fair.
Okay.
Now is your chance to shine. Show us your homework.
Do the first one.
This is the test. The test is finally here, Levi. The test is finally here.
Levi, I need a successor one day.
Taking the position of concubine has finally paid off.
Let's go.
Had enough.
So in comes Kongu, and he's on a cool bird. It's cooler than all the other birds.
Oh yeah.
What's her name?
He's Ka. The bird is called Ka, which probably it told him. He probably asked it his name, and it went Ka.
He was like, good name.
I'm sorry. Did you fact check? Did you fact check that with Turaga Nuju?
No, if you can't get the words fact check right, it's sorry, those are the rules. If you can't get the words fact check right, your sentence is invalid.
All right, I'll
continue.
go commit die. Be right back.
Good. Levi, you're in charge of Bionicle now.
I am indeedy, and in Bionicle, Kongu is going really fast, and he's got to get to the tower, because there's some nasty bugs eating the trees up in Lake Oro.
Yeah.
He gets to the tower, he gets to Lewa, and Lewa's like, why are you flying so fast? You look sad. And he's like, yeah, no, there's Bohrok. You got to get there fast. I really liked, by the way, the line.
Here comes that bow.
Did Bohrok coming? Yeah, I really liked the line acid poison bubbling at the long roots of Lewahi. I think that was really nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Lekoro's done for at this point. He's telling Lewa, you gotta go. You gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast.
So Lewa's like, okay, cool, I'll go. Tahu's like, okay, cool, I'll send some Takoro scouts. Fair enough, pretty cool. Kongu flies off again. He's got to deliver a message from Matau, but Tahu's turning to the others, and he's like, look, I know you want to go help your villagers.
I've come to deliver a message. Turaga Vakama's a bitch-ass motherfucker. He pissed on my wife.
What the hell?
But I'm gonna piss on the moon, motherfucker!
How did we get here?
So yeah, Tahu's like, look, guys, I know your Koros are fucked, but so is mine. And we should do that first. I'm the leader.
No, he says it's on the way. His is on the way, so we should deal with mine
which one
first,
of us is on the posters for Bionicle? That's right. It's me, Tahu.
I'm the red one, and we should all do what I say.
Except Lewa. He is like, Lewa, you can probably go. I don't need you. Lewa's like, nah. I'm staying. Screw you. We get a section from a Bionicle synopsis by Greg himself, which it's literally just the Bohrok Wars that we've already read. There's not much we can cover in this that we haven't already, but a quick summary. Lewa, Gali, Pahatu, they're all at the Manga volcano. Lewa's also thinking, I wish I was in Lake Oro right now. He's regretting his decision very quickly. But he also thinks, like, I could probably, do with killing some Bohrok. That'd be really nice right now.
Man, I could really go for some murder right about now.
And then Vakama says, hey, what you gotta do? Don't kill the Bohrok, because they're alive.
Just steal their faces. Dig a pit, throw them in. So yeah, they see the Bohrok coming. They are getting ready to enact a plan. Lewa and Gali are on either side of the volcano, and they're holding down the volcano's power, it seems. And the reason why they're doing that is so that Pahatu can break a channel into the side of the volcano to release all that pressure and just absolutely spew lava on the Bohrok. I feel like they probably killed some Krana there, which not very Toa
Oh,
of you guys.
absolutely.
Not very Lego of you. But they're angry. I can understand it. That's fair enough. So yeah, the Bohrok get covered in lava, and then Kopaka freezes it. It solidifies, keeps them in place. So they go around and they're literally just picking the Krana off helpless Bohrok. They had no chance.
I do have to say, we probably went over this when we discussed Mask of Light as well, but the sheer amount of energy, like in real life, required to flash freeze lava is absolutely insane.
He is the Toa of ice, though.
And you know what? He's interacting with protodermis. Physics are different with it. They got different properties.
I've done a lot of research on ice powers, which is a weird thing, I admit. But do you want to know something about ice powers?
I do.
Yes.
Ice powers aren't a thing.
It's true. Well done.
What Kopaka does, what all Toa of Ice stuff do, what all entities in anything that have ice powers do, is that they rob energy from things, causing them to freeze.
Yeah, it's the same thing that Light Pterodax did when he was fighting off the Shadow Takanuvas. He absorbed all the light in the room to create shadow.
It's like when Vakama made the room cold by absorbing all the heat.
Yes, you don't create ice. You just rob the heat from something until it freezes. Toa of Ice can do literally the same thing that Toa of Fire can do. But in
real physics, cold is just the absence of heat, just like shadow is just the absence of light.
Toa of Fire and Toa of Ice can do literally the same thing.
But this is fictional physics.
It's just that Toa of Fire have an easier time accelerating energy, whereas Toa of Ice have an easier time stopping energy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That does make sense, actually.
Which means that Kopaka still did something amazing here. You have to exert a lot of negative energy to flash freeze lava.
And I think this is a lot more lava than he froze in the movie too.
Oh yes,
it's describing like an entire field of Bohrok.
So really, what Liam said before I started rambling wasn't inaccurate. It's just instead of energy that Kopaka exerts, it's more like he exerts negative energy.
Right.
He has the power of yoink energy.
I feel like, though, that after that kind of exertion, he would be very exhausted at the very least.
No, he's too cool for that.
Too cool.
Think of it this way: a Toa of Ice is what would probably, if vacuum was an element, it would probably be very similar to ice.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. Let's move on. We're almost at the 2-hour mark.
We are indeed. So we're back to the Fanon. The Tamatoran are scattering in the village, trying to build up their defenses. The Levac have been sort of.
Oh no! Levi's cutting in and out.
Scratching.
I'm using the powers of my negative energy to ruin his life.
To rob the radio signal. Yeah.
Oh my darling Mac. I would never actually ruin his life on purpose.
The Tamatoran are building their defenses. The Levac have been pushed back a little. It's given the Toa a chance to start to regroup and start to tackle the problem. Vakama is annoyed as he sees Jala and Tahu directing the villagers. Annoyed at himself. He's like, well, there was a prophecy of this. I maybe should have told them.
We have seen these in the archives at some point. I probably should have informed them that they existed at the very least.
Kongo and Tamaru are going back to Lewahi. And they see the trees sort of moving, and they see some smoke billowing up from near Lake Oro.
And some
Kongo's
drums.
like, shit, I should have brought Lewa.
And some drums or something.
Yeah, there's drums, and I quite liked this line. Kongu listened. Someone was banging the drums of Lake Horo. Stay away, they said. Travelers beware.
And then ominously they stopped suddenly.
You can think of this as the drums just being ominous, but I like to think here that the drums have a signal, somewhat like Morse code, where you can tell from the beat of the drums what's happening, what's trying to be conveyed by the person playing. I like that. But all at once, the drums just silence. Spooky, quite spooky. So they come down, they go lower, and Kongu's nervous. But we cut away there. We cut away to Kopaka. He's sliding down Mount Ihu, skiing as he usually does. The mountain's quaking with the sheer power of the Bohrok. They're trying to break it down, I guess. And he's thinking to himself, where on earth have these buggers come from?
Did they come from the sky like we did? Or did they come from... No, they couldn't have come from underground, could they? That's just stupid.
That's very silly. Where on earth could Roombas have come from?
I wonder if I could freeze the sun.
I wonder,
Who crossed this out?
I did by accident just now by highlighting a line.
You gotta stop editing. You gotta switch your mode to suggesting.
I absolutely do. How do I do that?
You maniac.
Yes, I've switched it now. Excellent.
This podcast now becomes Levi destroys the Bionicle universe.
Yeah, no, you've given me too much power here.
I don't even know how you have the edit permission. I don't even have that, homie.
I have suggesting permission.
Oh,
I
okay.
bet Kopaka could freeze the sun, but that Taku would have trouble relighting it again.
Maybe so. But there's Kopaka.
Do you want me to take over?
You can do.
But do you want me to? Or do you want to be the host?
You have no faith in Levi?
I'm just being polite. It is technically my job.
I'll finish this job. I'll finish this story.
Levi
Okay,
is
thanks.
my precious little man, and he deserves all of the cookies in the whole wide world.
We'll
right,
speed
continue.
up a little, though, because we
Yes,
do need to do among
speed
the
it up.
rooms.
Gotta go fast!
So
Shush.
yeah, basically this is just the section again from the Bohrok Wars where Kopaka's thinking to himself, those Turaga, they're a bit sketchy. We cut after that to Tahu.
Uh-huh.
Tahu's at Takara. Blemenek.
Tahu's
That's
doing
at
Takara.
Takoro. And he's looking at the lava plains. He's like, that shouldn't be there. But the Toa have managed to push back the Bohrok, and they're regrouping. And he's got no team. Hooray. But he's going, fuck him. I don't need him. I'm Tahu. I'm the red one. I can win. Tahu's talking to Jala, and Jala's letting him know, hey, guy, the Bohrok are sort of... They're regrouping, and they look like they've got a strategy. And Tahu's like, strategy? But they're bugs. Vakama turns to him, and he's just like, they're bugs, but they're brainy bugs. These Roombas have AI. You're going to have to be smarty boy.
These Roombas are powered by ChatGPT.
And ChatGPT is made of squish brains.
That's not true.
Smooth brains, if you will.
Anyway.
Squish brains. They're not smooth, they're squishy.
But yeah, Tahu has been warned now that the Bohrok have intelligence and that he's going to be smart about it. The Tannock appears as it's crawling over the stone. The Tannock, plural. They're crawling over the stones and they're managing to get through the defenses, and they're heading towards Takoro swiftly. And they've managed to surround Tahu. But it's Tahu. He just uses his big fire sword. Fair enough, innit? He's got a fire sword. Just do it. And he smashes the Parak Var. He splits open its head plate. He yoinks he goes to yoink the Krana, but he realizes, hey, there's nothing in here. The Var aren't alive. We can just break these guys. So that's cool. That's a pretty big change. That's a pretty big part of their strategy now. Jala has seen this. He's realized it too. The Parak Var are directing the Parak towards the village. The lava is coming down the slope really quickly. Everything's just sort of hemming them in. They're embattled on all sides. Tahu is like, okay, we got to get back to the village now. I don't understand this. There's just Kaita ? That's a bit interesting, but
it's a note for the author to include a section about Bohrok.
I would have thought that would come in a part later, but I suppose this is unreleased.
Right, I think it
Bohrok,
could
like
be
everything else in the universe, are able to combine.
Exactly. It could be a Bohrok Kaita as opposed to a Toa Kaita.
I assumed it was Bohrok.
But now we cut to Makuta. So he's in a dark chamber underground, as he often is. Mm-hmm. The big green fart cloud is filling the whole thing, and he's thinking. He's like, these bastard Toa. How can I defeat them? They've come into my lair. They've shattered the illusions of the Shadow Toa. They've managed to overcome the Manas.
And he's gone.
What? Oh no! Come back. Where am I? Please.
There you are.
There we go. Sorry, I dislodged my mask of
communication.
Long distance communication.
My mask of walkie-talkie.
Yes, Makuta's just annoyed that they've managed to join their powers for the first time. They've managed to taste unity, as he puts it, but they're still a bit fractured. They're not quite a team yet. He might be able to find a crack. He's thinking, I'd really like to be God as well.
I think this is one of the few instances. This might be the only instance, other than this is the only time where Makuta already has a body, where we see him freely floating around and moving between them.
But yeah, Makuta, his fart cloud just drifts through a crack in the ceiling. He emerges into a chamber in Mangaya. And there's a big shimmering pool of protodermis at the center, massive green columns above. This is his place. This is his throne room, basically. The fart cloud goes to the center of the room and it enters this big suit of armor. For some reason, the suit of armor, it already has some intelligence. It stretches out its hand to let him in. A bit strange. I don't understand that, but we'll go with it.
He put AI in his armor, obviously.
He doesn't seem to like having two people in his head, as shown with Hellrigs.
No, it's probably like a modified It's probably like a refitted Exotoa, his armor.
Maybe so.
The Exotoa can walk around like a robot.
True.
But its primary use is to wear it like big boy pants.
Keeping this short once again. Basically, Makuta's like, okay, it's time for the Bohrok to go and smash them. I'm going to win here. And we cut to Gali in Gakoro. Nokama is guiding her to one of the huts, the hut with the sacred waters in it. And Nokama speaks to Gali. She's like, Gali, the prophecies speak in riddles of the future. In your quest, you've gained great power and even more awaits you still. Legends speak of powerful suits of armor, you masks with powers you can't imagine, which I like that. That's a nice little foreshadow to the Exotoa and to the mask powers beyond the 8, I think it was, that we were originally shown.
Nuva, the Vahkiti, the Chungus.
The Chungus mask, yeah. The Kanohi Chungus. Why would that fit? I could see the Kanohi Chungus being added.
I think Tino, in my Doranai Nui character, Tino Nui, his hammer is called the Nagumi Chungus. I think that literally just translates to big hammer or something like that. I forget what it was.
Amazing.
I think it was one of the Toahaga's mask. It lets you get bigger.
Yeah.
It's the mask of bigness.
Tino also has one of those.
Of course he does.
yeah, Nokama, she tells Gali, look, there's all sorts of stuff waiting for you. You need to remember the true source of your power, your elements. Those are the key to defeating the things that are threatening our people.
And you absolutely aren't going to lose access to those next year.
Gali's like, yeah, I'm starting to understand. These powers are kind of god level. And Nokama's like, yeah, that's true.
Did you see what your brother Kopaka did? He flash froze an erupting volcano. It's pretty baller.
I pity Liam for all the edits he has to make to censor for the radio.
Oh, I forgot we were censoring ourselves.
The whole episode is just going to be like Nuju bird speak.
Yeah, we gotta censor ourselves for the babies. We gotta censor ourselves. This is a baby show for babies.
Yeah, I mean, those 18 to 20 somethings just can't handle bad words.
You really can't, man.
Those words will get you kicked out of Volcanus.
All right.
Reasonable.
Where were you?
Yes, indeed.
Levi?
We have a book to read. So Nokama's like, look, you've got elemental powers, but you've got another power. You need to remember unity. You learned that at Kininui. You learned that in manga. You've got to remind your brothers that you've got to work together. You've got to be one. And Gali's like, yeah, I was planning that. Duh. But what if they don't listen to me? They're dum-dums. What if they just ignore me?
And then Nokama is like, oh, that's just how the narrative repeats itself. It's like poetry, it rhymes. They'll ignore you and they'll argue for most of the story, and then they'll come together in the end. You just have to repeat the process until it works.
I think it's also around this point that Nokama accidentally slips up and almost reveals the truth of Metro Nui to her.
Yeah. I was like, whoa.
Even the Turaga used to be great heroes once. I mean, no.
Indeed.
Nokama with her loose lips.
And this is the second time she's done this too, if you consider what happened in
Tales of the Masked.
Yeah.
Can't believe
Nokama is really reckless, man.
Yeah.
Why is my audacity flipping out? It's like the track is flashing rapidly. What the hell?
Because you've been recording for so long, you silly.
This is no longer than we usually do.
Right, guys, we have 50 minutes left. Let's go.
Okay.
Levi, now you know how I feel.
So yeah, Nokama tries to remind Gali to keep the guys in check, and Gali's just like, well, what if they don't listen to me? And Nokama's like, well, then you'll die. You better do it.
Do it or die.
And I know this because you might say we were once heroes of the Motoran as well. Gali's like, you used to have more power? And Nokama's just like, you could say that.
We used to be better.
Gali's like, what sort of power did you have? And the Turaga Nokama is like, when I say we were heroes of the Matoran, but then a big horn.
Oh, we'll tell you in a year or two. We'll tell you in a year or two.
She's just about to spill the beans, and then Aruga all around the
Oh,
village.
look over there! It's a distraction.
Yeah. And here comes Maku, and she's like, guys, the Bohrok are here.
Oh no!
So Gali, Nokama, they rush off to deal with the Bohrok. Gali first, though, she sits by the water and she's just holding her hand into the current, and
he's cutting out again.
Ah, no. Anyways, yeah. So
Levi forgot to pay his license.
Gali sees Harley and she's like, "Wow, that lady, she works real hard. I bet she could be cool in the future." Goes off to fight the Bohrok. The Garmatoran are trying to work out how to do it. And they're like, should we break the bridge just to stop them getting over? And Nokama's like, only if it comes to that. I'd really rather not break the bridge. But here are the Bohrok. No, sorry, the Bohrok aren't here. They should be. Gali's like, what? This is weird. But it turns out the river is lower than normal, and what's happening is the Bohrok are actually trying to flood Gakoro. Very smart indeed, and kind of ironic. I like that the solution for the water village was more water.
Too much water.
More water.
So Gali she's so angry. Like she realizes, oh god, they're also going to flood the Onumatoran's tunnels too. So she rushes off and she's like, you're right, the Huramatha waters are capable of great destruction, as you will see. I love that line. that's pretty great. She brings up the water and she smashes them. We move on to Onua's section now. Onua's collapsed beneath the statue carved of him. He is under his own statue.
Damn, bro.
They've managed to avoid evacuating the city. They've not had to do that yet, which is quite nice. But they've had to rally the Usselry, and they've driven the Bohrok back. It seems like they're safer now, but they are still moving on with an evacuation just in case. Turaga, Onewa, I believe it is.
Onawa for stone, Wenua for earth, underground.
Indeed. The Turaga's trying to work out what to do. There's so many of their logistics have been cut off. The Lake Oro highway is collapsed, so there's no way to get there. How are they going to evacuate? Onua's like, I can dig a path to Lake Oro. That would be sound. Let's just not think about that for now. Let's deal with the problem.
When in doubt, dig a hole.
But speaking of holes, the foreman comes up and he's like, the Great Mine's flooded. Go deal with that.
It's flooded with a weird silvery fluid that is potentially toxic.
Yeah, the mines have energized protodermis bubbling up now as well, so that's extra dangerous.
And it's here when Wenua explains to Onawa what that is.
Yes, indeedy. So Wenua and Onua, they run off to the Great Mine, and they dive into the water. Wenua's got an air bladder. Pretty cool, actually. I like the lack of ability to use the cow means that he has to bring in a separate tool. Air bladders, they're a thing. I really like that. But yeah, Wenua and Onua have jumped into the puddle in the mine, and they've gone to the bottom. And at the bottom, they're seeing these silvery bubbles floating up from the rocks. And it's like a strange power coming from it. And Onua, being the rock-headed banana man that he is, he reaches out and he's like, I'm going to touch the shiny thing. And
Wenua whacks his hand and is like, no, I can't actually tell you why not, because we're underwater, but I'll tell you when we're on the surface. Don't touch that.
And he's like, do not touch that. The protodermis is scary, and you will either die or become a monster.
When you protodermis is what everything in the universe is made out of, but when you run electricity through it, suddenly it makes you weird.
Indeed, he says you'll either die or be reborn in the protodermis, and no one knows what happens to them. Only destiny. And Onua's like, that sounds like random chance to me. Yeah. But Wenua claps back with, well, it seems that way, if only the great prophecies weren't also found to be in alignment. Like, we knew this was coming. Shut up.
Stop it!
So Onua claps back again, and he's like, well, what did the great prophecies say about the Bohrok then? When it was like, yeah, they say a lot, but the prophecies, they're kind of wishy-washy anyway. Probably don't rely on those. And that's pretty much it.
Good, thank you. I clap.
That is the end. A bit of an abrupt ending, which is...
I feel like it's not finished.
Yeah, well, it's not. I'm pretty sure, I can't speak for Gonal or everyone else, but I'm pretty sure it's not finished because this whole thing is an anthology series that's still ongoing.
This stuff
Look at us reading it, but I feel like even the Onua bit isn't finished.
That's fair.
It ain't. None of this is finished.
How could this do?
There's not much to talk about in this, to be honest. It's mostly going over what we've already read.
Wait, are we done?
No, we got one more story after this.
We're done with this story. We have Among the Ruins now. But yeah, no.
We have what?
Thank you, temporary host Levi.
You're welcome.
What do we got?
I do actually, just one last note. I think it's super sweet that I think it's such a sweet moment that Nokama just almost lets slip to Gali. I think that's so nice for her character.
She'd be like that.
She just cares almost too much. But yeah, no, story over. Ta-da.
All right. Anyone else have thoughts on that one before I move on to our last story? Keep it to one sentence, and no superfluous comments.
This story was unfinished.
I'll take that as a no.
So
all right.
No, let's go.
It's too late. People took too long. All right. It's time to move on to Toho Hordika and Turaga Dume.
Oh, that.
Indeed.
No. Toho Hordika and Turaga Dume appear to be just notes and...
No,
That's the thing.
I think that there was a whole other thing. It was a little unclear when we went through it. One of them was just a script for a comic. The second one was a whole story.
I only read the comic script. I thought that's what we were supposed to read.
Shit.
The notes?
So what it is, it's a whole chapter anthology of the...
Why do you suddenly sound like you're coming through an AM radio?
Everything's going like bads.
Anyway, I was going to say, so this story, it's an anthology of the Turaga Pokestone animations from the websites, and also, I think, a cancelled comic series. So the first thing you see on the website is the comic script for what it's eventually going to be, because the intention is to get this made as a comic.
What kind of comic? Like live action photos or like animated?
No, this would be like illustrated, like like the old comics.
Yeah.
So it's just comic notes on the one page, but the other page does have the full story, like the full prose write-up. But it's essentially the same thing. So it's a written story on one side, and it's a comic on the other. But it just hasn't been made yet.
Right. I read the written story because
I read the comic script because I knew this history behind it, so I considered that the definitive version.
I read the written up stories, and apparently no one in this podcast is on the same page as each other in regards to this section of the episode. Good.
Well, it's the same story, so the summary is going to be the same for both of them.
Yeah, it's pretty much the Turaga animations.
Yeah.
Just
in my summary,
form.
I'm not going to mention the Toho Hordika Mask of Light animations. I'm just going to talk about the comic bit.
Basically, the Turaga are going on a fucking MacGuffin quest because
No, this has nothing to do with the Turaga.
Toho Hordika, sorry. I'm starting to get a headache, and when my headache starts getting worse, I get stupider.
Maybe we should get moving then.
Yeah. Anyway, So in the summary, I'm only going to be covering the part of the story from the comics because that's the new part. Because the Toho Hordika animations already exist. Plus, in our required reading bit, we mentioned the search for Turaga Dume, which is what this comic would be. So,
I will say the only notes that I have for the Hordika section, because I did read that too, was that Onawa doesn't Naruto run anymore, which is a crime against humanity.
Well, it's not. I'm considering the animations more canon.
There's a lot of There's a lot of prose at the end talking about like the legend of the Toa Mata, which I found really nice.
I should read it at some point, but that's not what I read. Anyway, I'm gonna get into the story about Turaga Dume being found.
Indeed.
So we got the Toho Hordika. We got specifically Vakama and Onawa. They're fighting some Roparok. They're like, ooh, in the canyon. And, they're using their elemental powers to destroy them, but not really. They win against those Vizorak. Delicious, yummy. And then...
spider juices.
Yes, Norik pops up and he's like, hey, yo, you gotta find Kitangu, man. Only he can help you defeat the Vizorak once and for all.
Kitangu!
The Kitangu? So then Vakama's like, I don't know where he is. Norik says, Vakama's like, we need Turaga Dume because he's wise. And then Norik's like, well...
But I'm wise!
And then Norik's like, didn't you say Dume was trapped in a sphere and is in a coma?
And Vakama is like, you're trapped in a sphere and in a coma.
Onawa is like, all right.
Matoran are stored in the balls.
I'm gonna end you, man. I'm at my wit's end.
It is factually correct that babies are stored in the balls. That's where they come from.
Every single second that passes that we get closer to the 3-hour mark, Max's anxiety rises. Let's go.
I gotta get through 6 parts of this. I'm only on page 2 of part 1. All right.
Let's let Max power through this.
Yes, please. And then we can talk about it after I get through the synopsis, please. So Anno is like, all right, let's go get the other Hordika, and then we'll try to get Dume, I guess. So later, they all the Tohordika gather in Pometru, and Matao's like, is this their way? Vakama's like, yeah, dummy.
Do you know the way?
Oh,
he does know the way.
Back in the past again. So then there's lava in the underground bridge of stone, and they're like, oh, damn, that's an obstacle. So then Vizorak come and harass them, and they're like, oh, shoot. So they jump off the bridge, Lamel.
No. What happens? Well, okay. I don't know if this happens in the comic version or in both, but specifically, Onawa just decides, you know what? If we're going to die on my terms. And he just blows up the bridge himself, and they all fall down. And then he just he does the Minecraft thing where you place a block underneath yourself right when you're about to hit the ground.
Exactly. So that's what they do. They save themselves, hooray.
And now they play the floor is lava. Literally.
They do.
Yeah, they did say that. So they keep going down. You know, they fight off the Vizorak. They win. They win.
They did the thing, and it was good.
So you know, they escape. It's good. I like that. Hold on. I am thinking. So they're like, okay, we gotta move
slipping.
on. The barrier we have just made that they did by collapsing the ceiling is not gonna hold forever. They keep moving. Blah blah blah.
Yada yada yada.
They're thinking about how the Matoran spheres won't survive in lava, and they're like, "Yep, that makes sense." So, so they find
don't dip your balls in lava.
So they find Duma's sphere from Bionicle 2: Legends of Metro Nui coming soon on DVD, and they find it's empty, which is a shame. But
it is indeed.
There was someone behind them with eyes in the darkness, and they're like,
as you do, people tend to have eyes.
Yeah, I see. I don't have eyes sometimes. So then
where we're going, we don't need eyes to see.
Exactly. So it turns out the one with the eyes was Dume himself, and he's like, "What have you done to me, you monsters?"
Who are you, and what have you done with Vakama?
And he's like, "I am Vakama." And he's like, "Oh, okay."
That's impossible. No, Vakama would never be stupid enough to be turned into a Toa.
I do want to add that this is after, of course, they have a huge battle with a shoot spider, and they use Vakama as a human shield.
That's not true. That's
what?
That happens after this part that I'm about to say.
No.
I don't. That's not how it happens in the written version. In the written version, that happens,
right.
and then Dume comes out.
I'm bad. I am the bad one.
Yeah.
I'm mistaken. They fight a shoot lurker,
and the shoot spider
like,
had to paralyze.
Not only do they fight a shoot lurker, but Lewa calls. Sorry, not Lewa.
He doesn't.
Matau?
He's not alive. Well, he's alive.
Yeah. Matau calls it a nasty bugger. And I don't know if the author knows quite what bugger means, but that gave me a hell of a chuckle, and I would be willing to bet that the author is British. But the idea that a Toa knows the word bugger has hilarious connotations.
So the big bug guy, he has a paralyzed shenanigan, and he paralyzes the red one. and they throw the red one.
You can't paralyze someone that's already paralyzed, so they just
they
Vakama just
throw
giving
Vakama
them
at the
dirty
shoemaker,
looks
yeah.
the whole time.
Yeah, they just use the red one literally as a shield, as a human shield, while it just keeps shooting him with paralyzed doodads.
Then they throw it at him, at the spider.
And then they throw him at him, and then he knocks him out.
That was pretty funny. You're right. I did accidentally skip over that.
It almost knocks him out, and then when it tries to get up, Wanua just whacks it in the head. It's like, stay down.
Yes. And then their amazingly hilarious accomplishments go all for naught because they open up the ball. Doom is not in it. This was a trap. And then he just pointed a disc launcher at them and said, "Who are you and what have you done? I'm an old man."
Yes, I'll take over from here.
Yes, please do.
So Dume is then questioning them, and then the Tohordika explained to Dume, what happened in Bionicle 2 Legends of Metro Nui, coming soon to DVD.
There's also a very particular Easter egg in this section that I'm not sure if it made it into the comic section, but it was definitely in the written version, where Duma's asking the Toa, like, well, what happened to the other Turaga of other lands? Was there any word from Enkut Nui?
Yeah.
And I did a cursory Google search of this at the time, and it turned out to be such a huge rabbit hole that I didn't have time to research it. So I'm wondering if, Bob, would you be able to elaborate on that just a little bit?
Basically, Enkut Nui was the prototype name for Mari Nui when they were still developing that concept. And in the 2007 style guide, it's one of the few names they got through legal, but they just never used it in a story. So it is a approved name. But yeah, I think a few people have caught on to that in recent years, and a few creators have started using this location for just other islands in the universe. But yeah, it's a canon name.
Like what the first, that's not what I found when I was looking it up. The first thing I found was a Tumblr blog that was talking about the symbol that appears on some of the Metro Nui masks, like that weird circle pattern on the side of Matau's mask.
And Vakama too. I think the top of Oniwa's mask as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that one, but I know that's the origin of the phrase. It's just another canon, like, legal name that was made for Bionicle and used in the style guide.
Interesting. The more you know.
Anyway, they fill in Dume, and Duma's like, I see. So it seems like this imposter isolated the island. Anyway, Sukarak come in, and Bogarak and Roparak, and they're attacking. And
how do you have these names memorized?
Because I have them in front of me.
Which one's the Bogarak?
The Bogarak? Oh, that's the blue one.
The blue one.
The Bogarak.
Sukarak is the white one, and Roparak is the brown one.
The name he is asking about is the Bogarak, and you know damn well why.
Oh shoot! Oh my god! It was a joke that I didn't clock it immediately.
It was an pune.
Grammatically incorrect. Anyway, the Kikanalo chief from Bionicle 2 Legends of Metro Nui shows up, and he's like, "Hey, let's help out." And then Nakama tries to go to it, and then it's like, "Who are you, maniac? I don't recognize you." And then Nakama's butthurt. She's like, "Oh, my friend doesn't recognize me. That's sad." Anyway, next part is adapting the one, like the only two panels of this comic that was ever made available, which was in a little promo for this comic. In another comic, the Sukarak attacks without hesitation, specifically that bit. So Nakama fights it and wins.
I really like there's another great visual in this particular chapter, I believe, that I would love to see adapted into like a piece of art where it's just Turaga, Dume, and Onawa Hordika surrounded by Vizarok and Rahi standing back to back.
Yes.
I think that would be a really cool piece of art. And if this is meant to be a comic, all the better.
Yes. So maybe we can get Bionicle Chicken to do this comic. Anyway. Matao is like, hey, don't mutate the Kikanalo. That's my friend. And then he goes mad. He's got feral specifically.
Indeed, the thing that he's not supposed to do as a Hordika.
Yeah, and he does the sounds that he makes in Bionicle 3, Web of Shadows.
I'm dangerous. I'm angry. And I'll hurt you.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he does. And Duma has to take charge because Vakama's like, what do we do, Turaga? And Duma's like, boy, you're the leader here. But he's like, fine, I'll take over.
Yeah, that's a good thumbnail image. Just Turaga Duma doing the like breathe in, boy.
So Duma leads the Toa Hordika to, do it, and then Nuju's like, ooh, real leadership, how refreshing. And I'm just like, oh wow, given the Vakama the motive to be bad later.
Yeah.
So they are bullying him, and he's like, don't come into school tomorrow.
Which, I mean, I'm all for more of that kind of thing, because it's no secret that it was a last-minute decision in the design of the movie that Vakama was not supposed to be originally the one that was going to turn. It was supposed to be Matau. So everything that's been set up in canon to lead into Vakama's turn was a very last-minute thing that was sort of retroactively justifying a decision that was made by the movie team.
I don't think that's actually true. I think it's more so what Greg would have wanted instead. There's a difference.
Yeah, I remember distinctly. I think it was we talked to Greg, and he was like, "No, Vakama wouldn't do that."
Yeah, because they wanted that Anakin Skywalker parallel.
Yeah, because this came out like right at the same time as the Revenge of the Sith.
Exactly.
Yeah, so like,
but I think there's a difference between what was originally planned and what Greg wanted to do instead.
Yeah,
right.
But like he was allowed when he made the novelization of the movie, he was allowed to write Vakama's internal dialogue. It's like, oh no, Vakama only pretended to turn.
That's not. No, it's a bit more complicated than that. But,
yes, it is. I have a headache.
Okay. Anyway, I gotta finish this. So, Duma leads the Toa Hordika to victory, and it's all nice. And they're gonna destroy this barricade that the Vizorek made, because we must,
Good.
So anyway,
indeed,
they in the Prometru Canyon, the fucking gate explodes and the Hordika come out, and they escape. And Duma's like, "Hey, yo, you guys are really cool. You remind me of Likan."
You would have been proud, don't you know? I'm Canadian.
And then he Duma talks about how he had a role in Likan becoming a Toa, giving him the Toa stone. Then he brings him the Toa stone with the How on it, and he's like, the How is a symbol of Matanui.
Make sure you fucking cover the entire island in these things. Mama Luigi.
So then Vakama is like, all right, I'm in Tametru now. Time to begin my next quest. And then that's when the Mask of Light animations start. He goes and saves, Norican and Gaki. And then after that, in the comic, we got the bit with Rudaka and Sidorak. And Rudaka is just generally being like, Sidorak's a chump, she says to her.
Sidorak is such a simp.
Once Sidorak has left, she says to her, one of her Vizorek minions, like, he's bad. I don't like him.
Rudaka to step on.
You and half the community, Josie.
Only half. Yeah, the cool half.
All right. Oh, yeah, and then they kind of just talk about, stopping the Hordika and stuff, and getting the Evoki and stuff, because they're like, we need that, eh?
Rudaka's Canadian now too, is she?
Everyone's Canadian.
Anyway, that's the end. The last caption of the comic says, "See how the adventure continues in Bionicle Adventures 8. Challenge of the Hordika on sale now, guys. It's time to buy a book."
And you can buy that book at wallofhistory.com.
You can buy that book for free.
All
right. That's the summary of what happened here. Now we discuss before we leave.
I gotta say, I was going into this, I was probably aware at some point that this comic was supposed to happen in canon at some point, but I had completely forgotten about it. So it was nice to see that this has, even if it hasn't been adapted into a comic proper yet, it fits just as well into like a fully written serial. So I'm quite happy with how this has turned out so far.
My head hurts.
Thank you for your thoughts. So, anyone else? How does anyone else feel about this story?
There are other people here.
So I didn't read the comic, so for me the story doesn't end there. I read the written version.
Yeah, with
So I
the
can't really give my thoughts just yet.
yeah,
But-
because there's a bit more content with the written version, especially like the framing narrative at the very beginning and the very end.
My bad. Our schedule thing wasn't clear enough.
It's all right.
Yeah, I wasn't
Yeah.
entirely clear on when I put everything down, I wasn't clear on what we were supposed to be. I didn't realize that they were two different things when I put it down on the schedule. Put it that way.
Yeah, because when
I
it said
did.
It's fair.
the search for Turaga Dume, I assumed we were just supposed to read the part about Turaga Dume, which was which
Right.
was the comic. So I was like, oh, okay.
Which, I mean, in fairness, we did generally skip over a lot of the things that were just straight adaptations of existing media
Exactly.
already. So it's not a huge deal that we didn't get to the Hordika stuff. And other than the flavor text at the beginning, a bit more prose, and the stuff at the end telling the Hordika about, the legend of the Seventh Toa, there really isn't much else other than it being adapted directly. And I think, credit where it's due to Lost Head. Him and Jeff did great work, but overall, that half of the story does feel quite a bit like the Quest for the Toa adaptations in a lot of ways, and that is both for better and for worse.
yeah, definitely. I think
So I'm used to being wrong about stuff. So when I clicked on a thing and saw that there were two things, I looked at both things and to see if they were the same thing. And lo and behold, I was wrong. I assumed they were the same thing, and I only read one of them, which was the written one, out one.
Right. Well, you get the most detail out of that one anyways, so it's just as well.
Of the
Yeah.
two to read, that's the
If
better
you
one.
say
Yeah.
if you say so, I still feel like I failed somehow.
What were you going to say, Bob?
just that the prose version is the more fuller version where you have the full narrative, whereas the comic version is, of course, that abbreviated story.
Right.
I
Interesting.
like Bionicle. It's a good one.
So
Indeed.
should we move on to the rest of this story?
Oh, yo, is there
Oh,
more?
I wasn't covering it because I thought we were
Fair
just
enough.
covering the search for Turaga
Yeah.
Dume. 'Cause that's what
Like
it's
the only extra bits that you really need to know is that, as I mentioned, at the end they take the Makoki stones, the Makuda's grocery list. They go in. I think it's either somewhere deep in the archives or under the Great Temple. It's under the Great Temple, and they open a series of doors. They find the mask, and the Rahaga exposit about the legend of the Toa Mata and the Seventh Toa a bunch. Then the Vizorok attack. Onua encases the mask in stone, turning it into the totem that Takua later finds.
I liked
And
that.
that's
Yeah.
pretty well it.
I liked the stone was a shield for the light as well. That
Yeah.
it makes it more hidden. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
brilliant.
I don't like.
No, it's not brilliant. That's the point.
I don't like Bionicle.
All right.
I agree.
I like our guests.
Yes.
Indeed.
I hope
Thank you.
they enjoyed being here.
I'm sure they.
This was a bit of a
We
crazier
enjoyed.
episode.
I'm sure they. I'm sure they hate.
Zero, confirm that you enjoyed it.
That sounds like a
You are
demand.
contractually obligated.
It is.
Yes, I don't have a gun pointed to my head.
You're
I greatly
contractually
enjoyed it.
obligated to placate the vegetable.
Anyway, what do we have next time, Liam?
That is a very interesting question. As of the time of this episode airing, the time we're recording is currently the 11th of July. But as of the time this episode airs, the next episode will be the Gathered Friends Bionicle Day special, which will air on Bionicle Day, but it won't actually be uploaded for probably about another month or so after that. It'll just be an early airing because we're considering that the season finale. But the next episode that will be recorded and aired, and it will be the next episode in line. We will be covering Papa Nui's 7-year work, Legacy Weapons.
if it's finished.
Indeed.
Oh, he
Finished.
just finished it today.
Oh,
As of today, it's finished.
Okay, so what do I have to read, and when am I going to read it by?
You have to read.
That is in the schedule.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
The link.
Good.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. That's it for today, guys. Thank you for joining. I am your boy Max, and everyone else is here. Please say goodbye. Be polite.
Well, now that you say, I was gonna say go fuck yourselves, but now I gotta be polite. Okay, bye everyone.
Goodbye.
See, I'm a
Bye,
rebel
everyone.
and I don't follow the rules. Fuck everyone. Fuck me.
That's it. You're getting exiled from Volcanus.
Go
No
live
more.
with Malum.
Yes, I am okay with that.
I'm not actually going to die, everyone. I don't do that. I just feel like it.
It's Jover.
I'll end my recording now.
Okay,
Goodbye, everybody.